Good evening. My name is Melina Shada. I am today's honorary student mayor and will officiate the first portion of the agenda. I am now calling this meeting to order. Today is June 16 and the time is 7:17 p.m. Father Mike, kindly lead us in the invocation.
Let's pray. God, as we know you know our traditions, we ask you to come over this gathering this evening. May we have fruitful wisdom. May you guide us to continue to journey in how to improve this city. May this evening be fruitful in production and fruitful in leading the people of Baldwin Park. In your holy name, amen.
Thank you, Father Mike. David Lopez from U.S. Army Cadet Command will lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Please stand, everyone. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
City Clerk Marlene Garcia, roll call, please.
Thank you, Honorable Mayor. Thank you. Council members Daniel Damian.
Here.
Council member Monica Garcia.
Here.
Council member Paul Hernandez.
Present.
Mayor Pro Tem Alejandra Avila.
Here.
Mayor Emmanuel Estrada.
Here.
Honorary Mayor Melina Estrada.
Here.
And City Treasurer Marie Contreras.
Here.
Thank you.
City Attorney, was there any reportable action from closed session?
No, Honorable Mayor, we've not concluded closed session, so there's no reportable action.
The City Council are also members of the Board of Directors of the Housing Authority and Finance Authority, which are concurrently convening with the City Council this evening, and each council member is paid an additional stipend of $30 for attending the House Authority meeting and $50 for attending the Finance Authority meeting. I'd like to thank the mayor and members of the City Council for this opportunity. It was truly an honor. Mayor Estrada, you have the floor.
Thank you, Honorary Mayor Estrada. And so before I begin thanking our honorary mayor, I do want to disclose she has a great last name, but there is no relation between us and family. So it's great to see other Estradas from other parts of the country and from the city strive. So I want to thank her today. If you're not aware, Melina, she wrote an essay and you had to correct me if I'm wrong, okay? But she wrote an essay and she received an award for it, and it was based on what you wanted to be
Mayor.
When you get a little bit older. And there it is. So normally I don't put my competition up here, but Melina really earned it. So I want to thank her, and we do have an award for her for leading us today, and also congratulating her in her efforts in school. And I believe that Veronica Lopez, representative of Ms. Rubio, also has an award for her.
Well, Mayor, as Representative Lopez makes her way up, I just want to compliment our honorary mayor. You run a very tight ship, and very just let's get the agenda done. And you're welcome, anytime that Mayor Estrada was willing to share that with you, that space with you. So thank you. You did a great job.
Thank you. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. Again, I'm Veronica Lopez, representing Assemblywoman Blanca Rubio's office. First of all, I just want to say it's so great to be in this chambers again and to see our representatives being up here and seeing their faces. It is incredible. I'm so excited. As all of you know, as most of you know, this was my home, and sorry for the emotional, especially to see my good friends here up in the dais. But back to you, Melina. It's an honor to thank her. I already recognized her for winning her essay and presented the school with a certificate as well. So congratulations on winning the national essay for the bilingual educational. And Melina, on behalf of Assemblywoman Blanca Rubio, we present you the certificate as an honorary mayor of the city of Baldwin Park. Congratulations and good luck in all your future.
Yes. And I believe it's not just the city that's very proud of Melina. We also have our superintendent here and some of the school board members, including our board president. So if you guys would like to come up here, you definitely can. We can get a nice picture for Melina.
Melina, on behalf of the Board of Education and everyone at Baldwin Park Unified School District, congratulations on being the honorary mayor, and we are so proud of you. Thank you for allowing us to share in this with you today.
También la familia de Melina puede venir para acá para una foto. You know your school board, right?
Yeah.
Your superintendent, of course. Hey, how you doing? Just snuck up on me. Sorry, we're gonna start doing the phone shifting. Great. And then moving on, I'd like to ask Father Mike to join us up here so we can honor Father Mike before he leaves us for La Puente.
Thank you, Father Mike, for being here. Most likely, most of you here know who Father Mike is. He has been serving our community for 12 years, which I feel he should be here longer, but I guess we didn't have a say-so, and he must leave us to La Puente. Before I go on, let me read this plaque. Father Mike D, what's the D for? Oh, Father Michael David Gutierrez, St. John the Baptist Catholic Church. With deepest gratitude and appreciation of 12 years of service, thank you for your unending commitment to the parishioners of the church, residents, businesses, and entire community. We wish you the best in your future endeavors and in your new parish. Dated June 16, 2021, Mayor Emmanuel Estrada, Mayor Pro Tem Alejandra Avila, Council members Daniel Damian, Monica Garcia, Jose Hernandez, Marie Contreras, City Treasurer, and Marlene Garcia, City Clerk. So, as I said, Father Mike has been in the city of Baldwin Park for 12 years, and he has done an amazing job with the whole community, not just his parish. He has done food drives. He has done so many things. I'm going to have him mention all the things he's done. And I'm really sad that he's leaving us because I think we're going to see, although we are going to have a good priest taking his spot, we're really going to miss his humor. If you guys know him, he has a sense of humor that sometimes you're sitting in church and you're thinking, I can't believe he just said that. But that's what we like about Father Mike. Like I told him before, Father Mike, I like you because you're not so godly. Because sometimes you have to understand people and really tune in with what they're like so that we can get closer to God. And I think, at least for me, he's done that. He's helped me do that because I'm not a very godly, although I'm a very faithful person, but Father Mike knows. So I love that about him. I love his sense of humor. But most of all, the big difference that he has done for us, for every single one of us in this community. So thank you, Father Mike. I will truly miss you, and I know a lot of people here will miss you as well. So if we call you to come over and help us, you need to come over. You need to promise. Father Mike, promise that. See? You see what I mean? That's Father Mike for you. Anyone else would like to say anything about Father Mike?
Well, it's definitely a big win for La Puente, right? And a big loss for us. But, you know, we're very grateful to have had Father Mike here for the time that we had him. It's without a doubt that Father Mike has made a big difference in our community. And just as recently, Father Mike and the parish at St. John's led the charge in bringing in one of the very first vaccination sites to our city, making a big, big difference. And it's amazing and commendable, right? Because Father Mike has put the values and principles that he preaches into practice. And for that, we're all thankful.
Well, Father Mike, what can we say about the famous Father Mike here in Baldwin Park? Obviously, we're going to miss you. I mean, the work that you've done in the last 12 years for our community is outstanding. The community outreach, the partnerships that you've built, I can go on forever, but we are going to miss you. We hope, like Vice Mayor Avila said, that when we call you, you can be here with us. If we need you to help us fight, you're going to be here in the front lines with us fighting. But we are going to miss you, Father Mike. Thank you for all the 12 years of service that you give to our community.
Well, Father Mike, I just want to wish you all the best in your next endeavor and the new location. I'm sure the community of La Puente will be very, open arms to you, knowing all the good work that you've done here in the city of Baldwin Park. And I wanted to thank you for the good work that you did here in our community. So all the best to you.
Again, there's not much that I can say that my other colleagues haven't already said, but I want to thank you for your spiritual guidance, not only for myself, but also for the rest of the community. As you know, you've touched the lives of many, during the best of times and also during their most hardest times that individuals have gone through. So with that, I want to say thank you for everything that you've done for our community. It's a tremendous loss, but your impact has been felt in a positive way, and I'm sure La Puente will understand, the loss that we have and the award that they just received. So thank you again for everything that you've done for us, and will continue to do, as Mayor Pro Tem has already alluded to. You're not going away from us.
Father Mike, I just want to thank you for your leadership, guidance, for everything that you've done, not only in the church, but for all of our residents. I really appreciate it. I wish you you will keep on going. Road is long, but there is how to guide everybody that is following you. Bless you.
Thank you, Father Mike. Hello. Congratulations on your new home. I'm sure La Puente is going to be very happy to have you. Thank you for leading the people of Baldwin Park spiritually in the last 12 years that you've been here in Baldwin Park. And I think in particular this last year with the pandemic really hitting our community very hard, to be able to have a spiritual leader there that we can rely on speaks volumes of the person that you are, and people truly respect you. So I thank you for that, and good luck to you. Thank you.
Well, I actually don't have a lot to say tonight because I've learned a long time ago keeping it short is the best remedy. And I was talking today to a colleague of mine from my first parish, where I was a pastor in Santa Monica, where I came from 12 years ago. And we were talking about the parish there now. And we were just talking about the importance of places of worship being a part of the advocacy in the community. And there are different ventures. There's different ventures you run into. And sometimes it's like people are not used to it, especially in the Catholic world. It's very, very unknown for churches to be involved. But I was blessed to be here in Baldwin Park and really got to love this city and learned how to love this city in the way I do. And even though I'm only going, as I told my staff the other day, 2.4 miles exactly from St. John's to St. Louis of France, where I'm going. It's 2.4 miles. And somebody asked me the other day, how do you find it? Go look for Bassett High School. It's right next door. And so I really am touched by this. So thank you so much for this opportunity to serve you, all of you. And people, one of the best compliments I ever received in my life, I've always been non-denominational to everybody on purpose because, I'm a Roman Catholic. I'm very comfortable in my skin as a Roman Catholic. Always felt church was open to everybody, no matter what their status, orientation, or way of life is. And I still feel that way today. So thank you so much for this opportunity to serve and finish my last 2 weeks here in this community. Thank you.
Do any of his staff or parishioners are here for Father Mike? Can you stand up so we can see you? And don't cry just yet. So this is part of his staff at St. John's. I know you guys are going to miss him as well. I'm going to miss him dearly. But we know we can call him and go bug him where he's at. So good job. Thank you, Father Mike, for everything. Appreciate you. Come up here, please. Staff.
Bring staff. Okie dokie, Victor.
Do you have somebody else that's with you?
Yeah.
Victor's here.
Betsy goes to church here. It's up here. Bobby, you too. Where's Javier?
Parishioners, you want to bring up anybody that goes to your church?
If you go to church,
If you go to church,
if you've been in the building lately, come on up.
if you've heard some of his jokes, come up here in church.
Come on up. Come on up, you're working with Carlo.
You're a parishioner?
I'm gonna have to take your papitas away.
I don't need papitas.
Yeah, you will need papitas.
I don't have a cook right now. Thank you for volunteering. You want to get closer? You get closer, it's fine.
That's what it's going to cost.
Maybe this doesn't get in the way.
Work to get close to the neighborhood, actually.
Thank you.
Thank you.
One more hand for Father Mike. Yay!
There you go. Thank you.
As long as nobody trips. Oh, I look, I was just...
His ankle, man. Come on. That's bad karma, man. I'm just telling you. That's bad karma. You gotta go repent on that one.
Sorry, what more?
And then I believe we also have Julian Victolero and Charlize Garcia here. And Vida Flores.
All right, hi. I'm Vida Flores from the Mark Daniel Flores Music Foundation. And good evening, Mayor and City Council and members here. And this year, I just wanted to tell everybody thank you so much for all the condolences I received personally from everyone here. And thank you for expressing that. That meant a lot. But I want to get started with the foundation. And we've been doing this since 2009. And it was in honor of our son, Mark Daniel Flores. He was an instructional aide at Tracy Elementary, and he got into a motorcycle accident, and he passed away. So we decided to have this foundation. And it's been 12 years and $21,000 later. And I want to talk about some really good news. The good news are these two ladies. This is Julianne Victor Little and Charlize Garcia. And I want to tell you just a little bit about them. And I need to remove my glasses because I can't read it. All right, so let me tell you about one of our winners. She plays the violin, the cello, the drum set, and the piano at Sierra Vista High School. While in high school, she started to receive honors from the orchestra, band, and percussion, and her involvement with the band led her to volunteering as a judge's aide. During the SCSBOA and SCPA competitions, the marching band received superior and excellent awards. For this winner, music and filming go hand in hand. She founded the Film Club. The teamwork of the Film Club created a video called Directing Change, which won honorable mention for tackling mental health awareness. She also volunteers as an English tutor. She's looking at different paths in college, but communication degrees seem to be calling her name. She is also a Quest Bridge finalist. Ladies and gentlemen, I can have Charlize come up. This is Charlize.
Hi, just wanted to say thank you to Ms. Flores, and I know that this time was just the unknown, and especially for the scholarship, and I'm just so grateful that you continued it and that I have the opportunity to be involved in it, and thank you.
Thank you. Now our next winner comes from Baldwin Park High School. She joined the choir in the 7th grade in Edison, New Jersey. As a young 13-year-old, our winner was performing solos in the spring concert. During high school, she moved from the eastern seaboard to the western shores. And she started 2018 at Baldwin Park High School. She joined the treble concert chamber choir, and that led to sectional leader and officer. She enjoys singing at the tree lighting and holidays at the Women's Club. With the chamber choir, she performed in festivals as well as the LA Master Chorale High School Festival at the Walt Disney Hall. During our distance learning, she used technology like Soundtrap to collaborate with her fellow singers. Academically, she was in the National Honor Society, Questbridge College Prep, Baldwin Park Brave Scholar Honor Roll, and AP Scholar with Distinction. She is planning to study mechanical engineering at UC San Diego. That's a new one. She just changed. And, ladies and gentlemen, she was a valedictorian at the announcement ceremonies, at the graduating ceremonies for BP. Come on up. This is Julianne Victorero.
Firstly, I want to say thank you so much for the scholarship award. And even though I've only been in Baldwin Park for the 3 years of my high school career, I've really found a community here through both choir and my other involvements in school. And I've been really thankful for all the opportunities I've had here. So thank you so much.
Now, may I ask a favor? Could we take our traditional photo?
First, yes.
Oh,
Yes.
Thank you.
As Mrs. Flores makes her way up, I'd like to just say that, this is a perfect example of how someone from our community experienced a tragedy and turned it into something beautiful for our community. And the Flores family has really been such a gem for us, providing these scholarships to talented individuals like the two that we have here with us. And the future is bright, and we're just so excited about what the future holds for you. And thank you from the bottom of our heart for all that you do, even, this year, which we know has been very difficult. So thank you so much. You're a very special person. Thank you.
And I do want to mention, we do have a certificate for Julianne, and then we have one for Charlize. And the Office of Assemblywoman Rubio also has some recognition for her. Is that correct, Ms. Lopez? Oh, they already have it?
Yes.
Great. Yes, please.
Julianne and Charlize, congratulations on this scholarship recipients. And congratulations on all your academic efforts, and we wish you nothing but success from here on. And one of the things that here in Baldwin Park, we encourage you to come back and be mentors to those students from Baldwin Park Unified School District. Vida, I know we already spoke yesterday. Again, we appreciate everything that you've done in the past 12 years for our community, and we know that you'll continue doing it with the help from this community. They'll give back to you as well. Thank you so much.
And then, Veronica, if you'd like, you can join us for the picture.
Guys have
And then the families of the winners can join us as well.
Mom, Dad, come on.
And of course, our superintendent and school board members, if you'd like.
He's recruiting, but yeah, all the best to you. What is that? Oh, okay. Is he? Yeah. Oh, I did. Yeah, when you mentioned that earlier, I was really I did a master's.
Okay, so that's why I was confused. I was confused on that.
Yeah, but I did a master's afterwards.
Yeah, that I knew. 49er, right? 49er is Palm Beach.
This is Flores. This is Flores.
This is Flores.
Okay, nobody sit down yet. And then we have a gun violence awareness proclamation, and that is presented to Mrs. Colton. Is she here today? I'm going to read this out, okay? So, National Gun Violence Awareness Day, the first Friday in June, which is June 4th, 2021. Whereas every day more than 100 Americans are killed by gun violence, alongside more than 230 who are shot and wounded, and on average there are more than 13,000 gun homicides every year. In California, there are 3,090 gun deaths every year with a rate of 7.6 deaths per 100,000 people. California has the 45th highest rate of gun deaths in the U.S. And whereas cities across the nation, including Baldwin Park, are working to end the senseless violence with evidence-based solutions, mayors and law enforcement will work together to protect public safety in the communities and support the rights of law-abiding citizens. Gun violence prevention is more than important as ever as the COVID-19 pandemic continues to exacerbate gun violence and has increased the gun sales. And whereas in July 2013, Hadia Pendleton was tragically shot and killed at the age 15, and on June 4th, 2021, Hadia's 24th birthday was recognized, and people across the United States wear orange in tribute of victims of gun violence and loved ones of those victims. Anyone can join this campaign by pledging to wear orange and help raise awareness and honor the lives of gun violence victims and survivors. Gun homicides and assaults are concentrated in cities with more than half of all firearm-related gun deaths in the nation occurring in 127 cities. There's an increase in the calls to suicide and domestic violence hotlines, and also an increase in city gun violence. And and we renew our commitment to reduce gun violence and pledge to do all we can to keep firearms out of the wrong hands and encourage responsible gun ownership to help keep our children and families safe. Now, therefore, I, Emmanuel J. Estrada, Mayor of the City of Baldwin Park, along with Mayor Pro Tem Alejandra Avila, Council members Daniel Damian, Monica Garcia, Paul C. Hernandez, City Treasurer Maria A. Contreras, and City Clerk Marlene Garcia do hereby proclaim the first Friday in June as National Gun Violence Awareness Day in the City of Baldwin Park and urge all citizens to support their local community's efforts to prevent the tragic effects of gun violence and honor and value human lives.
Very much. This is really awesome. I think it's important to recognize and honor the people who are victims of gun violence, whether they were killed by a gun or survived guns. Thousands of families every year are struggling. Even if, the death occurred decades ago, it's still a difficult thing to come to terms with. So it's good to have a day of, remembrance. So I just think this is a wonderful thing for many people. So thank you very much. And, cities across the nation, including now Baldwin Park, are working to end senseless violence with evidence-based solutions. And protecting safety in the communities they serve is the mayor's highest responsibility. So again, I can't thank you enough for doing this. Hopefully we could do this every year. Again, wearing orange was the color of Hidea Pendleton's, that was her favorite color, which is also the color that hunters wear so that they won't get shot. And so her friends got together to commemorate her life, and her birthday is June 2nd. So they decided to do it the first Friday of every June to honor those people who've been affected by gun violence. So thank you all very much. We really appreciate this.
Thank you. It's a presentation. You can sit down. And at this moment, we have David Lopez, and he will give us a presentation on the U.S. Army Cadet Command Scholarship.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you so much for this invitation. Before I begin, I would like to introduce you to a counterpart of mine who is also with our organization. The reason I'd like to invite him is because he is a member of your community, and he'd like to say a few words to all of you.
Good evening. So my name is Victor Guzman. I'm with the Los Angeles Strategic Officer Recruiting Detachment. And like Mr. Lopez said, I am a native of Baldwin Park. I grew up here. I enjoyed summers at Morgan Park, went to Elwyn Elementary, Santa Fe School, and graduated from Sierra Vista. Any Dons out here? Okay. So the reason why I'm here is I just wanted to give my experience and some of the things that were beneficial to my life. Number one, I joined the military in 2000, recently retired, and I had the opportunity to be an Army officer. That opportunity allowed me to be an Army spokesman in different countries, Germany, Italy, Africa. I was allowed to get my bachelor's and my master's while I was serving. I don't say all that to put me on a pedestal or to make myself look any better than anybody else. I say all that because I believe that our youth and our young men and women have the same opportunity, if not more, with their level of technology and everything they have at their grasp. So the Army ROTC program is a very amazing program that's school-based. You get your degree first, and then you join the military as an officer. So that's one of the things that really impacted my life, is to have the opportunity to be an officer. I wasn't afforded that opportunity at the early stage of my career, but now I'm part of this organization that gives the students in our society the opportunity to do this. So unfortunately, California is at the lowest part of enrollment for the Army ROTC compared to the other parts of the country. So they built our organization here in Norwalk, California, to go out and inform and educate the populace so we could have more retention and more students. So that's what I'm here to offer, and my counterpart will give you more details on the program. Thank you.
Again, thank you so much for inviting us this evening. We greatly appreciate this opportunity to speak to all of you. This is a scholastic program. We are part of the Army. We are a new component. We want to really just have students flourish. Our program is specifically a scholastic program. We want to change the perception of how the Army is viewed. The Army's always been viewed as infantry. Once you are recruited into the Army, you are in the infantry. That is not our component. What we look at is we look at the student first. We focus on their scholastic improvements constantly. So for example, in order for anyone to receive a scholarship, a national scholarship from our program, you must have at least a 2.5 GPA. You must also meet certain physical requirements. You must also score at least 1,000 on the SAT, or on the ACT a 19. So this is specifically a program where we encourage the student to finish their degree in 4 years. We also have a master's program that individuals can utilize. We want this word to go out to the communities because it is so unfortunate that throughout the nation, the West Coast is the lowest individuals that have not received our national scholarships. Recently, we have provided scholarships for over $200,000 for just one individual. So we're encouraging our presentation today to focus on giving the knowledge to students in your community. We hope that we can give you some more information. We do have our social media pages on Facebook and Instagram, and you can reach them at LA SWORD, which is LASORD, for more information. I want to thank also tonight Ms. Morales for inviting us. If you have any questions about our program, please feel free to reach out to her. She has all of my personal information. I'd be more than happy to give any information on inquiries or any further information about what our scholastic program is all about. Thank you so much for this evening. Have a great evening, everyone. Thank you so much.
Mr. Mayor, if I may just...
Yes, Councilmember Hernandez.
Thank you. Again, just want to make sure we thank you for your service and your commitment to our country and our citizens. What you've provided today is something that hopefully will alter the future of some of the young folks here in our community. When we met quite some time ago, it was an astounding program considering the scholarship amount. I think it was close to 10,000 or so, or full ride, or almost full ride. So please, I hope you have a good working relationship with the school district, so we can make sure that the message is available to the students. That can certainly benefit from the scholarship aspect, as you said, is more of the mental side of things and not so much of the, the other part that folks have a different perspective. But again, thank you for your service to our city and our country.
Mayor?
Yes, Mayor Pro Tem.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Mr. Lopez, for coming up here and giving us a presentation. Thank you for your service. And I truly believe in the ROTC program. My brother-in-law was in the ROTC program at UC Santa Barbara. From there, he went into the Army as a lieutenant, and he retired as a colonel. He retired early medically, but he was a colonel when he retired at a very young age. And thanks to that program, he's not only did he get a great education, but he got a great career, and now his children have the same opportunity he had. So I do agree that it is a wonderful program, and it does help the individual that really wants to move forward and make a career out of the military. So thank you for your service, and thank you for bringing the information.
Mayor.
Yes, Councilmember Garcia.
Thank you. Well, thank you for taking the time to share that information with us, to share your story with us. And Victor, welcome back home. You've been representing our community well, it sounds, across the world. So thank you for doing that and for coming back. And hopefully it sounds like you both will want to be engaged and helping other youth as they decide what is best for them in their future and make those decisions. We just had the school district here, and including the superintendent, Froilan Mendoza, and that would have been a great introduction for you. But maybe there's an opportunity to do that, at a later time. I also want to thank you for your service. Both of my grandfathers were in the Army out of Fort Bliss, serving in World War II, and the benefits that they gained, were to the end of their life. So, the Army can be a great option for many, and so I'm glad that you're here to share that information, and anything that we can do to pass that along. I think we definitely want to make ourselves available to that. So, thank you for taking the time.
Yeah, by all means, we're big fans of getting our youth into great programs that are going to help them for the rest of their lives and help them on that path to leadership and gaining those necessary skills. And thank you for your service, not just for our country, but also for our city. I know I saw the LASORD team at the vaccine site, and you guys were out there volunteering. So thank you for all you're doing, and thank you for being involved in our community. And so at this moment, I will open public communications. City Clerk, should we start off with the callers? Great. So, public communications, I will now open the public communication. Is there anybody looking to speak? Give me 1 second, okay? And then the time is up. You have 3 minutes, okay?
Yes, sir. Good evening, Mr. Mayor, City Council member, Chief of Police, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Jorge Hernandez. The reason of my presence here is because I live in the city of Baldwin Park on Fairgrove Street between Barnes and Ethel. My street has turned into drag racing. My concern is the safety of the children. They're playing right there on the American League Little Park. We got a school, Elwyn. Then we have a child care center. No speed bumps. I brought it up several times to some city councils and previous administrations, and including to Mr. Sam Gutierrez. And I called Vicky Valverde, and apparently that's been ignored. It is a very serious problem that I have there. And my question is, how long is it going to take? Can you guys give me a date, year, or do we have to wait for a fatality to happen? That's all what my question, my comment. And also, thank you very much, and congratulations to our Chief of Police and our police department, Manny Carrillo. Thank you for the equipment that we needed so badly. Thank you.
Thank you. City Clerk, Chief Deputy City Clerk, can you get the speaker's contact information? Okay. Anybody else looking to speak?
Good evening, everybody. My name is Rudy Avalar. I'm with the American Legion. For those people that don't know what the American Legion is, it's a organization for veterans. We sent lobbyists to Washington to lobby for our pretty much our benefits. Also, we also assist any veterans from the community if they need food, money, assistance on filling out paperwork for the VA, and also we serve the community. We provide scholarships for the high schools. For Christmas, we give away toys. 2 years ago, the fire chief came by. We had to shut down, so we turned the parking lot into a Santa Claus place. We kept on giving out for the kids. We also provide the hall. Our hall, we have it for rental, but we have the hall for the high schools if they want to have their banquets free of charge. Now, this pandemic has really hurt us bad. I mean, bad. The state has closed us down. With that, our refrigerators have gone down. Pipings have bursted. During the rainy season, we had the roof come down. Okay? This is not your problem, but I feel that the American Legion, you have turned their backs on us. Okay? We've had homeless come in, leave junk. These gang guys or gang members been graffitiing the place, and then the city's coming down and citing us. I mean, not only once, twice. By the time we clean it up, we have another incident. Chief, your department has been sending us false alarms. They're not false alarms. We have people coming in trying to budge. We've been broken in twice, and then we get cited for false alarm. So I'm not here to badger you. I'm here, please communicate with us. Okay? I'm here to serve the community just as you're here to serve the community. Thank you very much.
Hello, City Council, Baldwin Park residents. First thing on this agenda, public communications. It doesn't say I can only speak 3 minutes, so I advise you to take that off of there. This is your agenda, right? Mayor, this is your agenda? Where does it say I only can speak 3 minutes? So take that off the bulletin and the screen. The first problem I'm pretty sure all of you so claim Baldwin Park residents. Hey, lawyer, can you wait till I'm done? Very rude people. Anyhow, this concerns you. And you other 3 people, you know who you are. And the city residents, these people you elected and the rest of the people. This gentleman is a dictator. You, and you. I'm very sad that you let that lawyer pay you to run for an office. My God, you people have no respect. You're a bunch of cheaters, liars, and so on. And he stands up there, very honorable, saying, oh, I work for the city of Baldwin Park. You're stealing from us. You're paying those 3 people to vote the way you want. You had a person fired back a number of years ago because she would not vote what you wanted. Where's all the money you're supposed to give for all the marijuana that you so claimed was the first one in line? Did you pay any money, or were you cheated the city residents of Baldwin Park? I'm pretty sure you're cheating us. You cheated us. Why do you people have to cheat us as residents of Baldwin Park? What did we do to you that you have to take our money and throw it away? You throw it away, put it in your pocket, and his pocket. His pocket's so damn big now, he needs a bigger car. How corrupt are you people? Don't look at me like you're innocent. Once he paid you, you're hooked. We have another gentleman who used to sit on the corner over here. He got hooked and he got taken out. That's what's going to happen to you. It becomes easy. Money, you keep it. So how can you get up there and honestly say you respect the Baldwin Park residents? You don't respect anybody. Your bankroll, and your bankroll.
Mr. Luna, your time is up.
No, I'm not done.
Yes. So
when you put 3 minutes on your agenda, I will stop.
Yeah. So we can't have you here filibuster the whole night. So 3 minutes is a reasonable amount of
Yeah,
time.
I know. You're going to have me thrown out if I don't shut up.
I'm not going to have you thrown
Well,
out.
let me tell you. You tell your lawyer buddy to have that agenda put on there.
Okay, so we will do that for the next one so that there's no
Are
confusion.
you going to have it done or not?
Yes, but at the next one. So right now there's no
Mayor,
way to print it
it's
out.
actually on page 3 at the very top of the agenda. Top of page 3.
Don't put false information on here.
Oh, okay.
It says you'll be granted 3 minutes to speak.
Great, thank you.
5 during the meeting.
Next speaker.
Mayor, City Council,
miembros del Concilio, residentes de la ciudad de Baldwin Park.
a few months back, well, maybe a year over a year,
Hace unos meses,
you guys
parece
voted
más bien
on
un
the
año.
VP Proud, and it seems like you guys are running into problems.
Parece que están teniendo muchísimos
One of the
problemas.
things
Una de las
in Southern
cosas
California, Edison was here,
es que Southern California Edison, cuando estuvieron aquí,
and they gave us a speech and they told us, if you guys go with this other company that wanted to come in, which eventually it did, I voted it out. I'm still with Southern California Edison. But it seems like you guys want to raise the rates on those people that didn't. One of the biggest problems is that I told the gentleman that was in charge to send out the information to the residents. He only did it in English. I told him, you have to send it in Spanish and in Thai, because a lot of the people don't understand just English. I came to this meeting and I told him, okay? But that's enough for that. Another problem that we're having, it's with Barnes Park. Like this gentleman just said, they get the street like it's a speedway. Sam told me they have to do a study. What is it going to cost for somebody to get killed, especially close to a park? You know, that's the biggest problem right there. And I told him too about the fence right there. They made a big hole in there, the homeless. They go in there. We've had, 3, 4 fires in the past month. Caltrans supposed to take care of it. Sam was supposed to get a hold of Caltrans. I mentioned it to Manny too, and there's no response. The hole is still there. The speed bumps, until somebody gets killed, that's when you guys are going to react. And that's a long street. Plus, you guys opened the park again, and they're having problems with the parking. The people that live in there, they cannot find parking because all the soccer people are there. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Rios. Anybody else looking to speak?
Good evening, Council. Greg Tuttle, business owner. I want to welcome the new mayor, since we finally got a real council back in here now, and the new council member, Danny, and the new police chief, and I'm the one that's aggravating you with emails, and the new city manager. Hopefully we got somebody that'll organize the city the right way this time. I hope you are the one. Chief, first of all, we need to do something with this parking, okay? And I know you try your best on there, but it's not good enough right now. We have a towing company that we have a contract with, and if he can't abide by the city parking regulations, you need to yank his contract and talk to the council on it. This has gone on far enough, and I'm tired of complaining. So something has to happen. Talk is not going to do it with this guy. Okay, now then we have the finance director. We had a big problem with the state audit. And the state audit showed that we had a big financial problem with all the falsifications and wrongdoings in the audit that they did. Well, Rose Tam had a deposition done. She declared that that was a problem, and she did that under the perjury, under the penalty of perjury. Now, Shannon, he denied everything, along with our corrupt city attorney. They all deny. The problem we have is falsification of the books, and it needs to be straightened out. Now then, we have Rose Tams over here created a story about my attorney, saying that he ran into her car, stole stuff out of her car with no information, no proof, no nothing. Cost the city tens of thousands of dollars to go to do a restraining order. Like Monica Garcia knows all about restraining orders she tried to do on me and failed. Cost the city thousands of dollars. This stuff needs to stop. Now, we have a city attorney named Medina that went off the wall. We filed state bar charges on her for this falsification that they both made up of the story of my attorney coming and doing all this stuff. This is being investigated now. This city needs to get rid of that dirtbag city attorney you have. You need to get new firms in here that are going to do for the city and quit costing all these lawsuits with the city. Now then, we have the BP Proud. What a scam. Now you guys, we had the city manager, and he scammed the city along with Monica Garcia and Hernandez. And this, they were paid. Monica worked for a company called E-Energy, another company that's being sued at back east. These companies came in here, did the scam, and they're, oh, well, nobody told us that you were going to scam us and steal all these millions of dollars. This has to be stopped now. You cannot afford to let this city go any more in debt with this program. You need to stop this program now, take the hit, and get out of it. Because it's only going to get worse, because when the residents have to pay more money and they find out they can go with SCE, they're gonna drop you guys, and you won't have any customers.
Mr. Tuttle?
Businesses too. I'm sorry, Mayor. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anybody else looking to speak?
Mayor, if the speakers could please state their names. Thank you.
Yes, you can state your name and anything else, City Clerk, that you would like to state.
That's all.
Listo? Ready?
Oh, okay, great. Can you assist with that?
We have a translator. Mark, can you?
Want to say in English? Ready? Voy a hablar en español. Buenas noches, me llamo Abel Transmisiones Auto Repair. Vivo en Baldwin Park por 41 años.
Están esperando a un intérprete.
Ok.
Are you ready?
The interpreter is ready.
Hola, buenas noches a todos. Me llamo Abel de Transmisiones. Vivo en Baldwin Park por 41 años. Y la razón que vengo aquí porque en mi negocio han robado mucho y no creo que está empeorando la ciudad y no veo nada bueno. Tengo muchos reportes de la policía y no han hecho nada. Me ha salido muy caro todo eso que ha pasado allí. Y al final yo fui el que agarré a la persona que me robó. Le llamé a la policía que fuera y que estaban en un problema de un shooting, lo que dijeron. Entonces de ahí pues no, llegaron a las 3 de la mañana, 3:30, y yo para qué lo quería el muchacho arrestado por 6, 8 horas. Lo dejé ir. Entonces pues necesito más vigilancia, que hagamos policías. Se van 3, 4 policías a un lugar y acá en otro lado está solo. Tienen que repartir la policía para ahí, para acá, para que donde está un problema lo resuelvan. Y también hay mucho grafiti en Baldwin Park, mucha basura. En el freeway y en las paredes del freeway mucho graffiti también. Muchos homeless que no los han relocalizado. Y el Motel Six lo están usando para prostitución también, que yo lo he visto. Que yo creía que estaban usando para bien, pero creo que no están usando para bien. Está equivocado ese problema ahí. Y el core enforcement anda molestando también mucho a la gente, donde está la gente es muy bien y lo siguen molestando y ya no hayan que hacer ellos también. Dicen, ¿por qué me molestan dando el core enforcement? Y yo estoy haciendo las cosas bien. Yo fui a revisar allá y yo veo que está muy limpio, está más sucia la casa del vecino que reportó que la del otro que tiene problemas. Y ¿qué más? Y espero que estén haciendo cosas bien todos ustedes. Les llamo y a veces no me contestan. Le he llamado al mayor Estrada, a veces no me contesta y creo que es no sé por qué no me quiere contestar cuando le llamo por una emergencia. Y es todo lo que digo. Ok, gracias.
Thank you. Is there any other?
Hi, I'm ready for the interpretation. Good evening, everyone. My name is Abel. I am a resident of Baldwin Park for 41 years. And the reason that I am here today is to let you know that my business has been getting a lot of thieves lately, a lot of shoplifting in my business. And I filed plenty of police reports and nothing has ever been done really. I actually had to catch the guy who stole from me. And when I called up the police, they told me that the policemen were actually committed to a type of program that they are dispatching police to different areas. So that would be one of my asks, is that they dispatch the police members to different areas in the city. Another problem that I like to bring up is there's a lot of graffiti. There's a lot of graffiti in our city. There's a lot of graffiti noticeable on the freeways as well. And the issue about homelessness, you can actually see a lot of homeless people who have not been found a permanent home or permanent housing. I've noticed also that the Motel 6 has been used for means of prostitution, and and also another thing that I want to bring up is the harassment from police or enforcement. Not sure if I heard that right. And also I want to also mention that Mayor Estrada has not been very responsive every time that I reached out. That is everything for me. Thank you.
Thank you for that translation. Is there anybody else looking to speak?
We have 3 callers that we will be calling. One is Elizabeth Landeros. The next one is Catherine Lozier and Victor.
Thank you, Mayor. The first caller is Elizabeth Landeros.
Your call has been forwarded. Your call has.
The next speaker is Catherine Lozier.
Hello.
Hi, Catherine. We're calling from the city of Baldwin Park. You wanted to speak?
Hi.
Hi.
Yes,
You have
hey,
3.
thank you so much.
Your time starts now.
Thank you. Good evening, Honorable Mayor, Mayor Pro Tem, council members, community partners, and fellow community members. Thank you for the opportunity to speak, especially by phone this evening. The LA County Library has 2 upcoming special programs celebrating Juneteenth. On Friday, June 18th at 11 a.m., the library will have Smarty Pants Story Time for children ages 2 to 5. There'll be stories, songs, and rhymes while learning school readiness and a little bit more about Juneteenth. For teens and adults on June 19th at 2 p.m., we will be celebrating Juneteenth storytelling and reflections with storyteller and educator Ginny Tate Wilkin, who will teach us a little bit about Juneteenth history with stories, folktales, and personal reflections. You can sign up for that program at lacountylibrary.org. Also, on our website, we have a new page called Managing Reentry Anxiety. And this is especially for those who might have a child feeling anxious about going back to school for in-person learning, or for somebody who feels uneasy about returning to the workplace, for example, after a year of teleworking. On that page is a link to resources from the American Psychological Association, the U.S. Center for Disease Control and Prevention, the state of California, LA County, health insurers, medical centers, and hospitals subtitles, as well as some videos created by us here at the LA County Library on mindfulness resources and health and wellness related videos. And then during the pandemic, there have been many magazine, journals, newspaper articles that talk about providing helpful tips on managing anxiety and especially now re-entry anxiety. And we have a link on that page to our very newest magazine and newspaper database called Press Reader. With Press Reader, customers are able to enjoy free unlimited access to thousands of newspapers and magazines. And through Press Reader, you can search for articles, print them out, send them to your tablet or e-reader, change the language, build a collection, as well as receive notifications when there is a next edition of a favorite magazine or journal. For more information on any of our programs or service, please feel free to visit us on the web at lacountylibrary.org. Call us at 626-962-6947, or please stop in and visit us. We are open Tuesdays through Saturdays, and our hours are both on our phone message and on our website. Thank you so much, and have a wonderful evening.
Thank you, Catherine. Our next caller is Victor.
Hello?
Hi, Victor. I'm calling you from the city of Baldwin Park. You requested to speak during council communications.
Yes.
Hi, yes. Okay, your time, you have 3 minutes, and your time starts now.
Okay, thank you. I wanted to comment on the proposed solid waste rates adjustment. I understand the consumer price index, that's an annual increase. There's also the green waste increase and the food waste increase. So for the green waste and food waste, is that a one-time fee increase, or how long will the green waste and food waste increases last? Is it 2 years? Will it be 10 years? That's my question. And then second item, or the wanted to comment on is for waste management. Have waste management considered working with local farming industries or agricultural companies where they could divert the food and green waste, or maybe look into local orchards where they could use the compost that they're going to generate? And how much money does waste management project making from all this composting? You know, the City of Baldwin Park and the residents are going to help them to make all this composting. Are they going to get some incentives back from all the money that they're going to be making from the composting? In less than 6 months, we are getting a 6.71% increase for the consumer price index. Yeah, it makes no sense, especially during the pandemic. We had an increase in January. Now we're looking at an increase in July. If we turn back the clock to August 5th, 2020, during that public hearing, there's the item was to raise it 3.22%. During that time, the mayor, Manuel Lozano, he tabled that increase. And then fast forward to January 2021, there is an increase. Just want to get some clarification how that worked, where the mayor Lozano tabled that agenda item back in August 5th, 2020. We don't hear back. We don't hear any notices or get any notification from the city or waste management. All of a sudden we have an increase January 2021.
Thank you. Your time's up.
Thank you.
Mayor, that concludes our speakers.
Great. And then nobody here is looking to speak, correct? If not, at this moment, I will close public communications. I believe speakers touched on certain topics, and we're more than willing to address them. We did ask for your contact information, and we can look at how we can make that street safer. I know we've talked with Chief and Public Works about making our streets safer. Obviously, the pandemic has really made people want to have a need for speed, but we are working with our Chief of Police and working with our Public Works, making sure how we can set up some roadblocks to speeding. And I believe in our budget we have some positions, adding some positions to our police department. At least recommendations. Is that correct, Chief? Great. So that'll be talk of the budget. As for the trash, Sam, can you kind of comment on the trash? I know that there was a retroactive trash increase a couple of months ago.
Right. So yes, as Victor mentioned, initially the CPI increase for 2020 was tabled. It was subsequently adopted and approved in November, and it was implemented by Waste Management in December. But because it was retroactive to July, Waste Management spread that increase over the 6 months. So the increase that Victor is talking about will drop off at July 1st, effectively. And then at that time, the new CPI increase for this year, for 2021, will become into effect.
Great. And then, so I know that we touched on the annual CPI in the contract, and I think that's something important for Victor and the rest of the residents to understand when their trash increases. So can you kind of touch on that?
Yeah, no, absolutely. I do have all of Victor's information. I do plan to give him a call and walk him through a lot of these rates. So,
great.
Sorry.
Great. And just so for the listeners that aren't Victor, regarding that CPI annual increase, how does that work?
So yeah, so the annual CPI increase is a contractual increase built into the franchise agreement. This is effectively their COLA, their cost of living. It's based on the U.S. Trash Consumer Price Index rates, and it is an average of the previous year. So we collect whatever that amount is, average it out for the year, compare it to the prior year, and whatever percentage increase that is, it is applied, and they can request for it. There is a cap, however, on that increase. So if it's over 5%, it is capped at 5%. In the previous years, it has been hovering around 3%. 3.49 is this year's percentage.
Great, thank you. So just for clarification, Sam, thank you. And then I believe we did have a study session on the trash increases today.
Mm-hmm.
The new public hearing is in August.
Correct.
So there is still time. The city's not rushing, and we're going to look at all of our viable options to make sure that we do our best to make sure that our residents don't take on the complete hit. I know somebody talked about homelessness, and that's been an issue that we've been talking about a lot. We've had our chief of police and our police officers be supportive of the idea of bringing in resources for our homeless, and I know that Manny and his team have been working on the possibility of housing our homeless population and giving them resources. It's undeniable that in the past years homelessness has increased, and we do have to do something about it. That tiny home project that we are currently working on is one of the fastest ways to do something, and also helps our police department by relieving them of taking on extra calls, reducing costs, and allowing our chief and our officers to focus on more serious crimes. So that's something that I wanted to mention out there, and I believe that tomorrow, is that correct, Manny? We do have that virtual Zoom meeting where residents can chime in and ask questions and learn about the effort.
Yes, sir, Mr. Mayor. It's listed on our social media website, and we also sent out email.
Great.
Yeah.
Mayor Pro Tem.
Yes, I wanted to touch up on what Mr. Jorge Hernandez said. I know, Sam, I had talked to you about that problem on that particular street in front of the state preschool, and I know you told me you were working on that. Is there an estimated time? Is there any way we can put a rush? I know right now it is summer school. Nevertheless, there's still families going to the baseball field. That's a lot of kids are in that area because of the school, even though it's summer, and because I had talked to you about it. What do you project the timeline for that is?
No, thank you for bringing this up. I did want to address this. So, as you mentioned, we have talked to you about it before. We've talked to residents. I remember speaking with the gentleman here. So we are in design. We are 95% done with this project. It's been in the CIP. We are adding the final touches and putting the specifications together. So we are ready to put this project out to bid sometime in July or August. So we are aware of the situation. We incorporated safe routes to school components as we talked previously, and it should go out to bid in July and be constructed this fall.
So it won't be, you won't start the project before the school year starts?
No, the original intent was to get it done during the summer months, so we're hoping to still be able to make that, but it's going to be difficult. But we will work around the school. We have provisions built in to account for drop-off and pickup times and things of that nature.
Ideally, if you can get it done before school starts, the state preschool program is running as during the summer, so I know there's still little children, parents walking to and from, and that is the times that I have gone to the preschool, I've seen the speeding vehicles, and then there's a curve to that street, so it's kind of blind. You don't know when there's a speeding car coming if you're going to be crossing the street. Am I correct? So it is of urgency that we get that project going if you can push, because it is an urgency. I'm very concerned about that area. Thank you, Sam. And also, just see what we could do to help Mr. Aguilar with the American Legion to see what's going on, Ben, with the property, and also Chief with code enforcement going out there. The tagging, Sam, let's see what we can do to help them protect the building because they've already had a lot of problems to begin with. And let's see how we can help them there. Also, Mr. Abel, I had talked to you about the tagging next door to your business, and I know they had come out and they cleaned it up, but you're saying they keep coming back out, and that encampment in front of your right next to actually Jack in the Box is where that encampment is, right? They're still there? So, Chief, if we can look into that as well, please, I really appreciate it. That's all, Mayor. Thank you.
And I did. Councilmember Garcia.
Okay. Did somebody else want to speak? Was that you? Oh, okay. Thank you. Yeah, I also have some concerns about the speeding, I think, in our community in general. I'm so glad to hear that we are using Safe Routes to School funding to make improvements on the stretch that Mr. Hernandez spoke about. And I know that's been a priority for us, is to look at school sites and anywhere that children are crossing. And we have been slowly, steadily making improvements, especially with Safe Routes to School. So thank you, and I'm so glad that you're, moving that forward. But I feel like speeding has become an issue in the community, and it feels like it's probably kids just wanting to be really defiant and experimental and push the boundaries because they're out there doing donuts and things like that. So I wanted to ask the Chief, what do you think about being able to address that if we're seeing it in different pockets of our community? What is a way how can we tackle that before it becomes even more of an issue?
Thank you for the question. As far as the police department, we're stepping up our patrols, especially the requests we get from the community. They are putting on, the officers are giving that traffic bureau, right now we have motor officers and a patrol car that are assigned specifically to traffic concerns and traffic problems. So we will continue our focus with them as well. So we, and anybody that calls into dispatch, let us know about those kind of issues. Time they're occurring, actually, properly. We're not handling other calls for service.
Okay, that's good to know. Because I think what we're seeing probably is maybe around the daytime when the children are around the schools, but also at nighttime is when I hear a lot of screeching. And again, it feels like there are kids just wanting to do donuts and things like that. So I'm glad that when somebody calls that in, there would be an immediate dispatch. Or, I think what we could do is track if it's happening at a certain day, time frame, and then be proactive about patrolling that area, right?
Correct. If the community gives us times of day and the days that this is occurring, that gives a little better focus. Then again, they'll change, but we'll continue to be positive in our approach.
Okay. And then that leads me to another recommendation is to have a constituent service form here in the council so that we can capture when somebody brings a concern to us, we can capture their name, their contact information. What are the specifics of the problem? Going back to what the chief is saying, if there is speeding that's occurring on Fridays at 7 o'clock generally, or Saturdays, at 9 o'clock, being able to be more specific in the information that we collect, and then we can route it. I think that would be helpful to us in being able to be responsive to the concerns that are brought to our attention here. And then also for the follow-up. And then I would also agree that if I'd like a little more information about the American Legion situation. So it sounds like Mr. Aguilar has left already, but any way that we can get information and just be supportive of, the organization and what they're trying to do there. And then I just want to mention that earlier somebody stated that I was working for an e-energy company on the East Coast, completely fabricated. I've never worked for an e-energy company. And that's just, the lies that unfortunately are shared, just and made up stories. So I just wanted to put that out for the record and for the public's information. That's it.
Great, thank you. Were you going to say something, Councilmember Damian?
Yeah, I actually did want to touch on a couple of things. Had something for Sam. Sam, I know that I had spoken to you regarding the homeless encampment that is behind the Barnes Park, and I had mentioned to you about that hole that I had gone out to go see. Was that hole taken care of, or is it still there?
So I don't know for sure, but I did task our public works manager to go take a look at that, and I will follow up with him and then get back to you. But I think there is a sort of like a misunderstanding about that fence, whether it belongs to the city of Baldwin Park or whether it belongs to Caltrans. It does delineate Caltrans property, which is what the homeless folks are accessing, and city property. So we've related all this information over to Caltrans, and sometimes they're responsive and they do come, but for the most part, they take a very long time to respond to concerns like this.
So is that fence there? I know that the back of it, the property belongs to Caltrans, but the actual fence, does that belong to Caltrans or is that ours?
So that is where the problem. I thought it was Caltrans, and I'm working with our public works manager to determine if it's ours or if it's Caltrans. But if it's ours, we'll cover it up and
because I don't think it's a hole and it's a chain link fence. So I think even if it is Caltrans, and they are taking their sweet time, I think maybe we should look into a way to maybe address it ourselves. Absolutely. Rather than just prolonging it and leaving it out there. Because some of the concerns that I've also had is that there's been a couple of fires back there. And although, yes, it's, away from homes, it's still, within feet of our city facility anyways, Barnes Park. So if that fire gets out of control, it's going to burn down our facility. So if we can just look into that one. And then Councilmember Garcia brought up a good point about the cards. Maybe what we could do is start using speaking cards like they've done in other council meetings. So when people want to speak, they fill out the card, we call them up by name, At least that way we already have their information. That would be a good recommendation maybe. And then my last thing is regarding the American Legion. Rudy mentioned that there was citations issued to him for graffiti and also for false alarms. How many citations have been issued to them, and what amounts are we speaking about? Because we do need to work with them. As it is, we're looking into figuring out a way with the mayor and the rest to figure out how we're going to help them with their financial issues that they're facing right now. So if we can look at those citations that were issued, why they were issued, and what amounts we're speaking about, to try to figure out a way how we can work with them instead of penalizing someone who's already struggling financially. Thank you. That's all I have, Mayor.
Mayor, I have one more question. For Sam, you said that sometimes Caltrans takes a long time to respond. Well, who can you go higher up to make sure that they're responding? Because I know we've had this issue in the past that they're not responding, and then, I don't know, you guys started contacting somebody else and the response became better. So what has changed that they're not responding?
So the folks that we normally deal with are the maintenance counterpart to our maintenance guys, the Caltrans guys. So we can take it and elevate it one step further and go to the district director. And I do have a good rapport with him, and I'll give him a call and we'll figure out if we can get some.
Do we need to send a letter out on behalf of the council to let them know that we need them to move faster when it comes to situations like this that are
Absolutely. So I'll engage with him and figure out what we can do. And if I see that there is a need for a letter from the city council, I will come back to the council and
It's worrisome that it's endangering not only the homeless, but the residents of the city of Baldwin Park. So we need to make sure that when we have a concern that they're responding just as you respond to our city needs when it's within the city limits, they need to do the same.
Absolutely.
Thank you, Sam.
Another approach is to contact our state representatives because they would, I'm sure, have some influence over state departments. So that's another option. Something that I wanted to mention, and it wasn't mentioned during public communications, but at some point we probably want to have a discussion about fireworks in the community and how we may want to approach fireworks this season. I mean, there's been a couple of fires out of Santa Fe Dam already, and it's always such a nuisance. We get a lot of complaints about fireworks. So maybe that's something that we can talk about here as far as, are there any policies? Do we want to revisit anything when it comes to fireworks? So I know it's... What are the fines? Well, why don't we bring that back as an item and get briefed on it, get refreshed on it, and then we can have a conversation and provide some...
Yes, it is happening a lot, and 4th of July is around the corner.
Yeah, and I know Chief and Manny have been pushing PSAs, at least through social media, and reminding everybody that there's a minimum, or at the very least, a $1,000 fine for using illegal fireworks.
That's correct,
Yes.
yes.
And I think it'll be a good discussion since we're not having a 4th of July show this year. There might be certain residents trying to put one on by themselves, right?
It might be too late too, right? Because it's just around the corner, but
Yeah. There might be a possibility for a potential urgency ordinance. I don't know if that's... Okay, I guess not, but we can probably wrap up or try to find out.
Immediately.
So it's a possibility? Yeah, so an urgency ordinance is a possibility, and we can ramp up our details in there. So that might be something to look into for the next meeting.
Before we'd have to have this is the last meeting. This is the last meeting. July, so we would have to have an emergency meeting.
Yeah. We could probably have a special meeting if that's something that the council wants to look into. And I think it is important. I know a lot of residents have complained, and I know Chief is out there. The police department is out there trying to take their concerns seriously and help mitigate those. And then before we move on, I did want to comment on the American Legion. I know Councilmember Damian and I have been trying to set up some sort of coalition with them and the school district and multiple nonprofits that focus on offering services to our first responders and veterans regarding mental health. So we're looking at ways on how we can help them fundraise. the American Legion is the last standing Legion in our city. The VFW has closed down, so we want to make sure that they have our support for their facility so that they can continue offering a great place for our veterans to enjoy. And so at this moment, we can move on to our consent calendar. Is there any items City Council is looking to pull?
Item 9.
Yeah, Mayor, I'd like to pull item number 3 and 4.
Oh, it's public hearing.
3 and 4?
Yes.
Oh, it is a public hearing, yeah.
Any other items? If not, I will make a motion to pass consent calendars items 1, 2, 5, and 6. Can I get a second?
Second.
Any objections? If not, the motion passes, and we can move on to item number 3. Councilmember Damian, you have the floor.
Thank you, Mayor. Yeah, so the item is the approval of agreements for overflow as needed for legal services. So at the last meeting, we had moved this item over because there was 10 recommended firms. However, we really didn't have enough time as the entire council to go ahead and review each and every firm. So we were going to select a few of the firms that we felt comfortable with moving forward. I don't know if any of my council colleagues have selected any firms. I did go ahead and select 5 that I had reviewed based on expertise or experience, as well as their fee compensation or hourly rates. So I don't know if you guys want to go down and select, I don't know, maybe I selected 5. I don't know, I think that would be more than enough. I'll go ahead and start. I selected Best and Krieger, Burke, Williams, and Sorensen, Curtis Wright, Silver and Wright, Richards, Watson, Gershon, and Woodruff, Spradlin, and Smart. Richards, Watson, and Gershon have an extensive full-service firm, and they cover a lot of different areas in law, which we need as a city, especially now. So I don't know if my council colleagues are comfortable with the 5 that I've selected, or if each one of you would like to go down the list and maybe select some of the firms that you guys feel comfortable with.
I actually selected 4 of the ones you selected. Atkinson, Best and Krieger, Burke, and Curtis Wright.
Yeah, and some of the selections I picked are also in your list. So I don't know if Councilmember Garcia or Hernandez have any questions or add-ons.
I support the 5 that you mentioned, and then there were some additional ones. I'm fine with going with the recommended firms, but the 5 that you mentioned are great. Make a motion.
You want to go ahead and speak, Councilmember Hernandez?
I would, thank you. My only request would be is if it's possible to continue to keep the RFP open so there are other potential law firms that can submit proposals for additional review for us, because again, one of the things that, the whole reason for this was to increase the bench, and 5 is a good start, but we certainly would love to have, at least another 3 to 5 additional ones. So if that's something that we can do mechanically, that would be fantastic, because again, there might be other firms that for one reason or another just didn't submit their RFP. So if we can do that, so when we have, say, 2 or 3 new firms that are interested, they could just be brought back to council for our review and consideration.
Yeah, I'm fine with that. So we'll make the motion where we'll go ahead and select these 5 with the option of leaving the RFP process open for other firms to go ahead and apply in the future. Okay, so I'll go ahead and make the motion to pass the 5 legal services, Best and Krieger, Burke, Williams, and Sorensen, Curtis Wright, Silver and Wright, Richards, Watson, Gershon, and Woodruff, Spradlin, and Smart, with the leaving the RFP process open to give any other options for other law firms to apply.
Second that.
Great. Any objections? Yes, Chief Deputy City Clerk.
for this one.
Sorry, on the recommendation as well, I'm not sure if there was a section for attorney services to assist city clerk in items such as referendums, recalls, any special services that we may need to retain an attorney. I would like to request that we also add that service, and that's just in case. It may not ever happen, but just to have them on retainer. It's for any city clerk related items like a referendum, a recall, something very specialized that may not happen, but just in case it did.
So Richards, Watson, and Grishon, they deal with elections. Yeah, so they're very well versed. They've got elections and municipal law. Good.
Something else that I think I'd like us to consider, and going back to what Councilmember Hernandez mentioned about keeping the RFP open, is all the firms that you mentioned I think are great. They are very well known, very established, and I think that if we can add to that list smaller firms that create more diversity, I think it's good to consider. Yeah. So maybe moving forward, we can consider that, and maybe some firms that were not added tonight but can be considered in the future, or as we keep that RFP open, we can take that into consideration as well, just so we have some of the larger representation and the smaller kind of boutique. Because from my experience, there's as long as they're established, they know what they're doing. You know, there are different specialty areas. I feel like there's a different level of attention that's given to the client, and that can be of benefit to us as well.
Great. And I believe Councilmember Damien, you have the floor again.
Thank you, Mayor. Yes, my next item is a resolution of the City Council of the City of Baldwin Park confirming the advisory committee's report and levying of assessment in the Baldwin Park Citywide Business Improvement District for fiscal year 2021-2022. So on this particular item, I've got a couple of questions on the projected expenditures. And I know that there was one item here, which was the consultant services for BP Now quarterly printing. That was $27,000 a year, and that's just obviously to print the BP Now. And the second one was the media outreach consultant services public information officer that is being paid $39,000 annually out of this fund. So from my understanding, the BIT fund, which is the Business Improvement Tax Fund, is a fund that we as businesses in the City of Baldwin Park pay apart from our annual business license every year, which is added to this fund. The media outreach consultant services I found out was a $39,000 was for the PR firm. It's being paid to the PR firm Velara Consulting on an annual basis. So one question is, why is this being paid out of this fund? And then where does the money that we get from the BP Now advertisers, such as the Valley County Water District, Baldwin Park Unified School District, and any other businesses who advertise on the BP Now, why isn't this fund, if we're in a sense paying to do this $27,000 in printing for the BP Now, why isn't this fund reimbursed back from any of those advertisements that are on the BP Now? And why is it that we're paying $39,000 to a PR firm from this account? Who would be the one to answer those questions?
I think on the finance numbers and the flow in and the flow out, that would be our finance director, Rose.
Yes, good evening, everybody. I believe many also can help with the BP Now, and many we receive revenue from the BP Now but not enough to cover the full cost. That's why in the past, we also subsidize with the BIT to cover the BP Now cost.
So is what you're saying that the BP Now printing cost could be more than $27,000, let's just say, for example, $50,000, but we received some of the portion of that from the sponsors or advertisers on the Now, and that's why the amount is only $27,000?
In this case, many can verify, and if it's only 27,000 for this time, because we are only doing quarterly. And however, in the past, we, like I said, it has been more, we reduced to quarterly printing. And if we don't use this and we use general fund, but we can take the city council's direction. And if you decided not to use the BIT fund to fund the BP Now, you direct us to use general fund, then we can set the money back to the fund balance, and you can use for future programs, events such as street market and concert in the parks. And you don't have to use it, but if you use this fund to fund BP Now, then it means it's saving the general fund for $27,000. And it is qualified to be used from this fund.
Yeah, so I understand that the BP Now printing is qualified to be used under the fund, but we also have to keep in mind that, this fund was particularly put in place to help the small businesses in the city of Baldwin Park. So we need to start looking into ways how we're going to start using some of that money to help the small businesses in the city, whether it's by promoting them or, getting creative to figuring out a way how we're going to be able to put this money back put this money back to use and for them, since in reality they are the ones that are paying into this fund. This fund exists because of our business owners. My other concern is the $39,000 that we're paying annually to the PR firm. Either we start figuring out a different way to pay for that PR firm, or from a different fund, or we figure out a way to see if we can start doing our own PR or press releases in-house. I've seen some of the press releases that have been sent out, and I don't know, honestly, how difficult it is for us to put one together. But if it's going to save the city or this particular fund $39,000 a year, then it would be a recommendation to either start exploring the possibilities of doing our own press releases in-house, or figuring out a way we're going to pay this out of the general fund and not from the BIT fund, so that this way we're not taking it from the small businesses in the city.
Council member, if I could add one element that just want to remind the city council, the public relations firm that assists the city in its PR, they assist us in a variety of aspects, one being the downtown street market as well as the concerts. So the unique thing about this firm is that they have contacts within the media industry. So we may have the print news show up to one of our events and or television. With all honesty, our staff do not have those type of relationships. We assist the PR firm in writing the press releases, but in terms of the outreach, sending it to all the contacts that they may have, the Spanish-speaking media, and so on, it is very helpful.
So it's not more of the actual writing the press release, it's more of them getting it out to the...
Yes, it is actually both. We give them a boilerplate, and they enhance it, and then they have contacts within the industry. And that's why we've had Channel 4, Channel 7, Channel 9, 11 show up over the last few years. When we were writing our own press releases, it was rare that we received that type of coverage, possibly the Tribune. But that's pretty much about it.
Okay, and that makes sense. I mean, yeah, that makes total sense. So you want to make sure if we're going to get the media coverage, at least they're good for that as well. Again, it's not so much getting rid of the PR firm. That's not what I'm trying to do here. It's more of trying to figure out a way if we're going to be able to start covering this out of a different fund versus the BIT fund. That way we can use the funds that are in this particular fund to be more towards businesses, because in reality, I mean, I know that it covers for community events, which, you know, we're grateful for, but in the past, it's paid for the 4th of July, it's paid for the parade, it's paid for the Hero military banner programs, it's paid for the BP Now, but, you know, the businesses are still having to pay to either sponsor events or, you know, have a booth at the street market, at the concerts at the park, or whatever it may be. So either figure out a way how we can incorporate to where we give, you know, those businesses in the city more of a discount to participate in our events, or maybe give them a couple of weeks for free, you know, whatever it is, kind of get creative with that, just so that they can see that their money that they're paying into this fund is being used also to benefit them, and not just, you know, the city. Obviously, it benefits the entire community, but you got to understand that the stakeholders, the constituents as residents are one, and the business owners are the other. And since the business owners are the ones that are particularly funding this fund, it would be nice to see that they can see that their money is actually going to something that's benefiting them.
Great. So I do want to cut you off a little bit, Councilmember Damian. So there seems to be a typo on the agenda. So you're talking about the BIT fund. That will be on the public hearing. So we can continue that conversation once we get there. But just for clarification, number 4 is the adoption of resolution number 2021-023, a resolution of the City Council of the City of Baldwin Park, California, adopting the fiscal year 2021-2022 project list to be funded by Senate Bill 1, SB 1, the Road Repair and Accountability Act.
Yeah, and I apologize, Mayor. I realize right now Deputy City Clerk gave me the new agenda. I had the old agenda before the new one was revised. Sorry about that.
No worries, no worries. So, Councilmember Damian, did you want to make a motion on number 4?
Yes, Mayor. I would like to make a motion that we start exploring the $39,000 to pay for the PR firm.
Councilmember Damian?
Yes.
Item number 4 is not the BIT.
Oh, well, wait a minute.
Yeah, you're talking about item number 7 in the public hearing.
Item number 7.
Okay, Mayor, I'll make a motion to pass item number 4.
And I'll second. Is there any objections? No? Item number 4 passes. Great. And then so before we move on to public hearings, I will move to call to order the Baldwin Park Housing Authority meeting and the Baldwin Park Finance Authority meeting at 9:14 p.m. I'm running the meeting simultaneously. And now we are at...
I think somebody pulled item number 9 on the consent calendar.
Yeah, but we corrected that.
Oh, I see. Okay. Okay, just wanted to be sure.
Okay, so currently we are at City Council acting as successor agency of the dissolved Community Development Commission. And there is a consent calendar, and I will make a motion to pass the consent calendar. Can I get a second?
Second.
Any objections? No. Consent calendar passes, and we move on to the public hearing. So at this moment, I believe, Chief Deputy City Clerk, I believe we can make all those public hearings together, correct?
Yes.
Great. So at this moment, I officially open the public hearing regarding adoption of budget for fiscal year 2021-2022 for the City, Finance Authority, Municipal Financing Authority, Housing Authority, and Successor Agency. Chief Deputy City Clerk, is there anybody looking to speak in favor?
No, Mayor.
Okay. At this moment, Chief Deputy City Clerk, is there anybody looking to speak against?
No, Mayor.
Great. So at this moment, we can move to officially close. Oh, I believe Mr. Tuttle would like to speak on the public hearing.
Sorry, we didn't have any speakers that called in, but if there's anybody from the public that wishes to speak, they may do so now.
Great. Is there anybody from the public looking to speak? Go ahead.
For or against?
Okay. Mr. Toto, are you against? All right, you're on the right one.
On the budget, I'm really opposed to the way it's been run and the way that you have a finance director that's paid over $300,000 a year to do this that isn't even certified CPA, and she got cited by the state audit board. We need to figure out what your real budget is, and we need to bring in the new audit firm to come in that I guess you guys haven't selected yet, and get rid of the Vasquez problems. This thing here with this audit, we need to know where the $50,000 for each of the weed guys went for the police department, because Chief Lopez is looking for money to hire new officers and do all that stuff. And guess what? It got commingled into the general fund, which was admitted in her deposition at court. The other thing is all the money that we have from the weed people. Where did that go? This was supposed to help the community. This money commingled into the general fund. We don't really have an accurate reading of where this is all at. We don't have an accurate reading of how many attorney firms that are bleeding us to death and are really an actual cost. We have Mr. Tafoya even lowered his rates so he could keep his job for a little longer before he joins Pacheco in jail. And this is going to go on. And I don't know why you guys still keep having an attorney that's been sanctioned for $37,000 because he fraudulently did a case and a judge sanctioned him. And then you're sitting there and he's been investigated by the DA's office, by the FBI. I helped in all this stuff with the Pacheco case and all this. I know all about it. But this budget, I think you seriously need to look it over before you approve it, because I don't think it's right, and I've got quite a few discrepancies. If you guys want to sit down and ask me, I'd be more than happy to do it. My daughter's an auditor, and she came through and she just took 5 minutes and says, this isn't right. So we need to go over this budget and make sure it's right, proper. You've got a state audit committee that told you had practices back from 1987. And when I was on the audit committee for the city back in 2016, and we were talking about this, Rose was supposed to update all this stuff. It still hadn't been done. That's over 5-6 years ago. So I think you guys seriously need to think about this, because this budget is not even close to being right. And you got a fraud in there with your finance director.
Is there anybody else looking to speak? No? Not at this moment. I will move to officially close the public hearing. And we can take it up for discussion with City Council. I don't know if staff or City Council has any comments.
Mr. Mayor, if I?
Yes, Councilmember Hernandez.
Thank you. I have a few questions here, so please bear with me. And, you know, if I'm touching on any other items that other council members wish to speak on, please chime in on this one. Just first and foremost, we'll start off with the police item here. Chief, you know, we had a conversation last time we met here in City Council, and, you know, thank you very much for all the city staff that provided us the personnel request information. It's very helpful. Chief, I don't see an assistant chief position under the personnel request that you're looking for. Can you share some background as to why that is?
Correct. Yes, sir. We're in a process of reorganizing the department. We've actually eliminated the assistant chief position, and we're going back to having 2 captains, 4 lieutenants in the rank structure.
Perfect. And then in regards to that, when you move back to a current model, which of the positions moving back will they be now on salary?
I'm sorry. As far as the commanders and the assistant chief, they will revert back to, well, there won't be an assistant chief,
but there will be the lieutenants who are currently commanders at this point.
And those positions will be overtime or salary positions?
Those are salaried positions, sir.
Perfect. And how many of those positions are you seeking?
I'm sorry, 4.
4. Perfect. No, this is great. One of the other things in regards to that is, I'm hoping July or August when you're ready, you can provide, back to council a study session in regards to, what the new model will look like, even though it most likely will look like the same in the previous, but for us to understand, the concepts and some of the cost savings, because again, the budget that we're looking for tonight, with the adoption, if should you change your business model, you're not looking to increase your budget. In fact, you're looking to perhaps even decrease it at that point, perhaps.
Yes, sir. If there are possibilities, yes, sir, we are.
Perfect. And I'm hoping that at that time in July or August, when you do come back to the city council with Ms. Tran's assistant, you'll be able to provide us those figures as we did. Because one of the concerns that I had, and I've shared with you and other staff members, is one of the reasons for why we went away from the previous model was the overtime account. And the overtime, we're looking at close to a $1.2 million overtime basically budget. That it increased, time after time after time over years. I understand that, when we have an incident, boots on the ground, it is what it is. I get that. But being able to understand the overtime, especially when it becomes to individuals or officers that are going to, reporting to court, dismissing individuals, or, changing the change of schedules when they arrest somebody, depending on what type of arrest, if there's ways of mitigating some of that overtime costs with change of officers and so forth. You're very familiar with these type of things.
Yes,
so
sir.
we could be very mindful in that. The other item that I just want to make sure that we're all aware of is you're looking to maintain the jail as the jail contract as we move forward. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Perfect. And again, the rationale for seeking to have that maintained?
There's, one of the big things that we looked at, is the process that we have to deal with if we leave the city to go out to another city to book. Having our officers to leave, let's say the closest facility what we looked at was El Monte. Having them go to El Monte, we are standing in line to process our arrestees. So if there are El Monte officers that are processing, we will wait in line to process our arrestee. The other piece is the officer safety issue and the community safety issue, which are really important to me and to the community, is our response time. If we have officers over at El Monte processing their arrestees, it takes them out of the city. Having our own jail allows us to, if necessary, the officers can leave the arrestee with our jail staff. They will continue to process the arrestee while the officers respond to a call for service.
Thank you. And then under the current budget that you have and the personnel requests, how many new recruits or laterals would you be looking to bring on to the city?
Right now, we've got 7 vacancies that we have at this point. Before I get off the subject of the jail, in addition to the jail, we're also looking at pay to stay. So pay to stay has helped us in deferring some of the cost. We have individuals who, by an order of the court, can do their time on a weekend, and so they pay to stay here at our jail facility. That program has also allowed us to take arrestees from Arizona, with a court order from the judge from Arizona to allow them to stay here, and as opposed to any place else.
And that is a revenue.
Correct. And we're looking to raise the rates for that capability from, it's currently at about $100 a night to somewhere around $175 to $200 a night, based on industry standards.
Perfect. And in relationship to that, what about the cost for the upgrades to the jail to make sure that it's meeting the standards? Because I knew that at some point there was discussion in regards to improving the jail, not improving it, and so forth, just to ensure that one, it's safe for the folks who were housing at the time, and also for our personnel.
Correct, and I believe the audit that was completed, there are some improvements. but the audits, the improvements can be made over time as we move along.
Is those improvements budgeted into your overall budget?
Not at this time, no, sir.
Is that something Sam, is that something in which we can look at through the CIP?
Definitely, that's something that we could look at during the CIP.
And then I'll just say one other item, and then I'll let my other council colleagues chime in. In regards to the 7 vacancies, I want to be very clear about it. I'd like for us to have diversity, people of color, from the LGBT community, minorities, folks that represent our community, Asian Pacific Islanders and so forth. So when you are looking, to hire those and bring on those folks, I hope that, ultimately you're the one with the final say. You look at that, closely, obviously, as it matches with the skill set that we're looking for here in our city. Because I think what that does for us is it provides a much stronger community, stronger police department that's more representative of our community, but also understands the landscape in which they're going to be policing and working in our community, and more importantly, being a fabric of our community.
Absolutely, sir. And we have been working with HR to work in our recruitment efforts. We have currently 7 vacancies. Additionally, we have 8 frozen vacancies that we're looking at as well. But our goal is to make sure that the officers we hire that are reflective of the community that we serve. The goal is the goal is not only for the officers; it's also for any of the other staff that we are seeking to hire. Our parking enforcement officers as well. And we're also looking at the COPS grant to help unfreeze 3 positions. So there are things that we're looking for, forward-thinking as far as grants that would allow us to help with the hiring of our officers.
Thank you. Appreciate your time, Chief.
Yes, sir.
Mayor.
Yes, Councilmember Garcia.
Thank you. Chief, so based on the conversation that I just heard, I was trying to make notes here, and I heard assistant chief.
Yes, ma'am.
I heard 2 captains and 4 lieutenants. Plus, I'm looking at a number of positions that are unfreeze or new request. So for fiscal year 21-22, are we bringing in a new assistant chief?
No, ma'am. I said we were eliminating the position.
Oh, we're eliminating. Okay,
Yes, ma'am.
sorry. Okay.
No, ma'am. That's
good.
word.
Let me strike that out. And then, so the 2 captains.
Yes, ma'am.
The 4 lieutenants.
Correct.
And then the positions here that we're looking at.
Yes, ma'am. One of the things that I'm looking at is freezing one of the captain positions for additional cost savings during that period of time. If I can get the lieutenants in place, that'll help augment the things that we need to get done.
Okay, that's good to hear, because what I didn't want to see was like a top heavy.
Correct.
And we really need the resources out on the streets.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, so thank you. I think you and I are definitely on the same page. And since we're having this conversation for resources and allocation of resources, what I would love to see in our department is more of a ComStat type of deployment. So is that part of, yes?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. It is. It's one of the many things that I've been looking at over the time that I've been graciously allowed to be here. And ComStat is a process we're looking at. So we've been working on our crime stats and the computer system that we have in order to refine that, so I can actually take a look at crime stats and actually deploy to crime transit hotspots within the city.
Okay.
Hold our patrol officers, our supervisors, our captains, and detectives accountable for the trends that we're seeing. So we are in a process. It's just taking a little time in order to get all the things done with the limited staff that we have at this point.
Okay.
But we are going to get there.
Okay, good. We're on the same page. So you got my stamp of approval.
Thank you, ma'am.
Okay, thank you.
And Chief, so I know that when we talk about the jail, it seems that it's a lot of money, and I know we discussed that.
Yes, sir.
But I like the idea of it potentially bringing in revenue to cover those costs, and I think that's better than having our limited officer count being out, stuck in rush hour or something, or stuck at a different police station not getting priority, right?
Yes, sir.
So is there also a possibility of seeing if any other cities would be willing to use our jail instead of us trying to use theirs?
We are exploring that as well. And in addition, we've also working with our federal partners house any of the fugitives that the U.S. Marshals might have, which would also help us as well.
Great, that's great. And then as well, I know that we're talking about restructuring. Are you looking to wait on these hires until the restructuring happens, or are you bringing them in and then moving them around?
No, sir. We're looking at it's a process. So I want to first off is the officers. Those are the most important ones for me, and then the other piece would be is when we restructure the lieutenants and the captains, that the testing begins right away, so that there is no lapse in time. So as we grow with the officers, there's also movement within the department to allow for that mentoring and process that we need to account for.
Great. And I know we talk a lot about overtime, and that's a concern for all of us, right?
Yes,
We're
sir.
trying to keep things limited. So when we moved to the current structure, it seems that people were moved up in ranks.
Yes, sir.
In order to get that salary.
Correct. And so the lieutenants will be a salaried component, so they will not be earning any overtime.
So when people moved up the ranks, was there requirements for those qualifications since they couldn't have that position that no longer existed? So with the current system, the concern is that if we move people up the ranks and they didn't have the qualifications for it, we're putting the city in a legal bind, which is going to come out a lot more expensive than overtime.
Correct. Yes, sir. If there's a possibility that someone who doesn't have the experience that I would be looking for as a command level officer, that we will put them in a position where they would not succeed. My concern is that then they could say that I was never given the opportunity to experience the things that I need to, especially when you're looking about personal issues and budget issues and the things that we do on a regular basis. They wouldn't have the experience, so I would be holding them accountable for that, and again, that would cause issues and concerns for the department as we're trying to get that level of experience. So with this change, it allows for mentoring. So even from the corporal rank that I'm looking at to revise, the corporal rank is another piece. It's not a rank, I'm sorry, it's an assignment, but it's a piece that allows for mentoring and growing within the department, which allows that growth.
Great, that sounds great. I just wanted to double check on that.
Yes, sir.
And then I know I saw the community service officer here as a new request, and I think that's a great idea. So could you maybe explain to the rest of the council members what that entails?
Yes, sir. The community service officer, I'm looking to use that as opposed to using an officer from the field to assist our evidence clerk right now, which we do, and he's a light duty officer. But what I would like to do is hire this CSO to assist the property clerk, as well as as we move into our body worn video and digital car video. There will be requirements for redaction of those videos for court and for PRA requests and those kind of things. So having that person that will be focused on specifically on redaction and evidence control, that would benefit the department.
Great, thank you. Does any other council member have any questions, concerns?
I just have a comment, Mayor.
Yes, go ahead, Mayor Pro Tem.
This is for Chief. Thank you, Chief, for working for our police department. I know you've been working diligently on creating all these changes, or actually bringing back the department to what it was before. Do you have a timeline as to when you will do the reorganization of the police department?
I'm looking to bring this to the council in the second meeting of July so that we can have a discussion and take a look at the process and the vision for the future. There's a lot of things within the department. The reorganization also includes renaming different sections within the department. The Community Relations Bureau will be Community Services Bureau, because I want to look at changing the concept and services for the community based on community-based policing. Which that will entail the corporal assignment, the training, planning. Let's see, this is training, planning, and strategic planning bureau, which we had a professional standards bureau. In theory, it was there, but it doesn't really the function as far as professional standards isn't that as it was designed, sadly, because we don't have enough supervisors to do those kind of things. So the professional standards piece will be done by supervisors, whether it be a sergeant or lieutenant, and those things will be done in the proper manner that is designed by the department through the manual. but that'll allow me to actually change the concept of Professional Standards Bureau to start thinking about the future and the future way of policing with the community. So that's the vision that I'm moving towards in order to get us thinking into the next century. So that we're kind of I'm looking for state of the art type of things, state of the art ideas, and moving us in that direction.
Okay. And then I know this has been brought up, the budget, the concern of the overtime, but I know that once you have a fully staffed police department, you will control that overtime, because if you have the staff, there won't be the need for that overtime, and I know that was a concern, so I know that piece is going to be taken care of. And I'm glad to see it reverting back to the way we had it before, because I know when they went to commanders, there was, what, $12,000 increase? Do you recall, Rose, the amount of money that the steps went up in was 12,000, I believe?
About 12,000, you're
For
right.
them to become commanders, correct? So it was actually an increase in expenses when that happened. So I'm happy to hear that we're going back to the way it was before. So thank you. I'm looking forward to seeing that in the July agenda.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
Hi, Mayor. Since we are talking about the budget, I would like to put the PowerPoint up, and I would not go through every single page since in detail, since we have presented in the last study session. However, we have made some changes, so I want to inform the public and the City Council.
Great. Okay, go ahead, Rose.
Thank you very much. Good evening, Honorable Mayor and Council member and residents and the business owners of City of Baldwin Park. I would like to present you the fiscal year 2021 and 22 budget. And in this year's proposed budget, our emphasis is to continue proactive planning and fiscal responsibility to remain on track. The objective of the budget presented is to balance the budget and maintain a healthy reserve fund balance to meet future rising costs, uncertainties, and emergencies. The city will continue to promote increased productivity, encourage efficiency in the workplace, seek new revenue, and reinvest in the community. Next slide, please. I would like to talk about this bar chart. This bar chart presents the general fund reserve fund balance and showing you 10 years history here. As you may see, and the general fund reserve balance continue to increase. And from 2013 to 2020, and all these years have been audited by the independent auditors, including the state auditors. And there is no any illegal financial transaction or inappropriate financial transaction have been found. As you may see, and each year it has been going up, and because of the continued guidance from our city councils and the dedication and commitment of our E-team and employees, and that's how you see the general fund reserve balance continue to increase. And our city general fund reserve fund balance requirement is 10% of the operating expenditure to meet emergency requirement. However, as you may see from the proposed budget 2012, and we have about 29.85%, which 3 times or 2 times more than the requirement of 10%. So the city maintaining a healthy general fund reserve balance. And so this bar chart is a very important information. And it's also included in the audited financial statement in the CAFA, posted on the city's website that everybody can see. And this bar chart also included on the budget from every year's proposed budget or adopted budget, and in the city's website under finance, and everyone can view that. And I want to emphasize one more time, all these number and the citywide financial have been reported, audited by the independent auditors. And as I'm saying, no illegal transaction have been found. And any question on this bar chart? If no, we can go to the next page. So I won't go over each line item as I mentioned, and we haven't changed make any changes to the general fund revenue from the last presentation. So we can go to the next page. No question. And the revenue stayed the same. We did not make any changes from the last presentation. And next, please. And this page giving you a more detailed breakdown about the general fund revenue by type. And again, there is nothing changed from last time, and same to the next slide. This also shows everyone the 10 years history and the projection. Next, please. And the general fund expenditure has changed a little bit because with City Council's direction, we brought back many special events, and we can take you to the slide that's showing the special revenue. Special events. I apologize for that. With the City Council's direction from last study session, and we brought back all these special events, which added to this proposed budget and increased the general fund expenditure about $224,000. And I would like to go to the police department slide.
Rose, I'm sorry.
Yes.
Can you go back to the
special event?
Yeah.
Yes.
Was there any increase to any of these items or decrease?
No. These special events, this is same from last time, but last time when we presented, they were not included in the proposed budget.
Right.
Yes.
One of the items that we talked about, or at least I discussed when we were here, was to perhaps increase the trick or treat with a cop to $5,000. I say that again because it's one of the more popular events that we have, throughout the year, but especially that night. I mean, those that have been there, we have a line that wraps around all of City Hall. And more importantly, the reason I also asked for that increase is that way, the police department and staff don't have to actually go out to our business community and ask them for donations, right? Again, I'm trying to have our police department not ask for community donations, even though many folks are certainly willing to do that, but I like to perhaps limit that as much as possible, especially, when we as a council could certainly help mitigate this just by, increasing the budget by a few $1,000s.
Yes.
So again, I like for my colleagues to see if we can consider just, revising that particular line item to just even out to $5,000 from the $2,600.
With the City Council's approval, and certainly we can increase 5,000. We can use the general fund, or we can use the BIT fund, because we still have available balance from the BIT fund. And The city council can give staff direction which fund you would like me to put the additional 5,000 to this event to benefit the community.
Have any CDBG? What about CDBG funds?
We shall not use CDBG fund. We can use general fund or BIT fund. We have available money in the BIT fund, if city council agree.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, it's going back to the community. I mean, it's something that, and we're only talking about another less than $2,500. So I'm in support of either getting it from the BIT fund or the general fund to increase it.
Yeah, the city council can let me know which fund, then I can just go back. Once you approve, I can just go back and amend it. As long as you approve right here, then I have the authority to go back to add that amount.
I think Councilmember Damian, I think Rose is asking for direction, either or.
To use general fund or BIT fund.
No, you had some concerns in regards to that, so I'll lend to you.
Councilmember Damian?
Yeah, for this purpose, I would say let's use the general fund, and then we'll touch base on the BIT. Yeah, let's just go ahead, and I support adding it from the general fund.
I add it back to general fund. $5,000?
5,000.
Item? Okay.
Well, I hear 10,000. Okay, 5,000. Sorry, Chief. I mean, I'm trying.
Okay.
And then what about the Pride of the Valley, the 5K run? I thought we said it wasn't going to work out seasonally. Is that
Yes. I think it's a great thing to add 5,000 to that, since we still have little bit surplus. And I write a note.
Well, that was what Manny was. Manny
yeah,
was going to check on that.
I would be in favor of just holding that event off to the next year, because I think that Manny and that department has built it up based on a template of the season and the interest, and to recreate that at a different time of the year might change things up. And it's our annual, so it's our tradition, and I wouldn't want to start to confuse people. So I would be in favor of just, if we can have it this year at the same time, let's just hold it off until next year.
No, we had actually asked. Let's ask. Well, can we ask Director Carrillo to see what the findings is?
Yes, staff and I, we have been looking into moving the Pride of the Valley run. It would be best to preserve the summer run. I think that would generate the most interest from all the high school athletes and colleges and all the weekend warriors. So with council's approval, we will cancel. We've already canceled this run in August, and we'll just wait for next August to host the I believe it's going to be the 27th annual run.
Perfect.
So,
yes, thank you.
Since we're not going to do the 5K run and we don't have too many events, can we potentially, since the 5K run is 17, can we potentially add a couple of? Can we increase the amount for the tree lighting ceremony, and then maybe we could do something a little bit bigger and more community involvement?
Yeah.
What do you think, Manny?
Absolutely. We could always use some additional funds to enhance the program. Keep in mind, we do not really have many special events, and the tree lighting ceremony will probably be the big and the first event that the city will be hosting, other than some of the other events like the trick or treat with the police officers and probably the Veterans Day. But the tree lighting ceremony, I anticipate, should be very big.
So maybe we can even add like a posada type feel to it.
Or a Winterfest.
Or like a Winterfest, something big.
Yeah, we will explore those options and report back to the city council.
Okay, so at this moment, should we allocate? Yeah,
If I may.
Councilmember Hernandez?
I'm sorry.
You gonna say something?
So
so at this moment, should we allocate some funds?
Absolutely. The one thing I would ask is, I know Councilmember Damian a few weeks back asked for us to consider a mental health walk, if I remember correctly. So if we can perhaps add that item to the special events list and maybe earmark tentatively, I don't know, maybe 3,000 or 2,000, I don't know what it might cost. And then the rest of the balance would go to the tree lighting out of the, out of the 5K run. So that way, should we move forward with the mental health awareness walk, we have funding for that. Because usually I believe the funding that's really going to come out of that is going to be Public Works overtime, if there is any, PD, street control, and so forth.
Yeah, that's a good idea. So, Councilmember Demon, you have any requests on how much you'd like to allocate?
No, I think, Manny, what would you anticipate that it would cost to get that, the mental health awareness that we're trying to ramp up with the American Legion?
Yes, Councilmember Damian. I would suggest, off the top of my head, $4,500 should be adequate. And please keep in mind, we are very frugal with our resources, and we will use it wisely. Thank you.
Okay, so I would go with Manny's recommendation, do $4,500 set aside for the mental health awareness walk. And then we'll increase, I believe it's the tree lighting ceremony as well as the trick or treat with the cop, right? Those are the three that we're working on?
Yeah. And then, so just to make it clear, so it was 17.5 for the 5K run. So you want to take 4,500 and allocate those for the mental health walk. And then the remainder, you want to split the remainder between, or you were taking money from the general fund for the trick or treat with the cop, and then you want to put the remainder for the Christmas event.
Yeah, I mean, if we're not gonna use the 17.5 for the Pride of the Valley, then we can use that funding to go to the tree lighting and then the Halloween.
The Halloween and the mental health.
Exactly.
Yes. So yes. So the balance.
Mental health and tree lighting that we're going to do right now.
So if I could perhaps summarize this, is from the 17,000 from the 5K run, we will allocate from there the balance to make 5,000 even for the trick or treat with the cop. Another $4,500 will go to as a placeholder for the mental health, and the remaining balance will then go to the tree lighting ceremony.
Sure.
If
Yes.
I do have
10.
10.
It's about 10 grand. Does that mean? I don't know, Manny. What do you think? What do you need?
I do have one request. If we could preserve about $2,500 for the Pride of the Valley run, there are some certificates and fees and sanction fees that we do pay in April, May, before the August event, as well as some advertisement.
Yeah, and then keep some in there then.
Good idea.
So should we revert to using the general fund for the trick or treat with the cop?
I'm sorry, Mr. Mayor. We are using the general fund. It's coming from this pot here.
So at this point, with the math, we would be down at 8,000 to around 8,000 for the Christmas event, right? So is that enough money, Manny?
$8,000? Yes, I mean, we could enhance the program. Not sure if we will be able to get snow out there for that amount, or ice, I should say. But we could definitely enhance the program pending COVID-19 restrictions. We have had menudo or pozole in the past, so we could definitely work on that. And going years back, we have had shipped in ice for the what we called it Winterfest back then. So that was very nice also. So maybe that's something we could look at down the road.
Can we do this? Can we approve the amount that is being allocated to special events and then allow Manny to come back with a modified list so that it's more clear? He's thought about it a little bit more, what the needs are, rather than us just kind of throwing some numbers out there. So that would be my recommendation.
That works. Great. Okay. Well, I think we're in consensus on that. So.
Are we going to reserve 2,500 for the certificate for the 5K run? 2,500.
Yes.
So means we have 5,200 left about that. But like Councilwoman Monica said, we don't have to use up that money now. We can always come back to add it to it after many put more thought to it, since the event won't happen until December. Yeah. We can always add that back. So I just reduced that from the budget for now. Whatever the remaining balance, about $5,000, $6,000. You can always add it back later. Thank you, everybody.
Great. Okay.
And that's the main thing I want to point out, that we want to show you the direction we did at all those special events back to benefit the communities. And I would like to go back to the police page very fast, since you all talked about the police before. And I think we all discussed the increase to the police department, because we are going to unfreeze 3 full-time positions, and we are going to also unfreeze 4 part-time positions, and 3 of the part-time positions will help the parking enforcement. And as we all know, the city, let me go to that page. For me, I apologize. As you all may see, and the city and the city council, they have been always put public safety as the priority of the city. And we have all discussed about the increase on this one. And I just want to mention that to the public. And we can go to the last summary page now, please. The ones showing the summary of the general fund. Yes, this one. Thank you very much, Dave. And we bringing back the special events, and the general fund surplus became about $193,000 instead of $400,000 from the last presentation. And that's all the changes from last time. And thank you all. If the council have any questions.
Mayor, I do have additional questions. Rose, yes. you circulated this document here, personnel requests?
Yes.
Are we reviewing that as part of the budget?
Yes, I can talk about that.
I did notice that some are included in the proposed budget, and then some can be brought back for consideration.
Yes, and we have went over the request based on the available funding, and also based on the critical need. The former CEO, then we also have the meeting with the current CEO, and then that's what this come out and what's included in the current budget, and based on the priority and the critical need. And the one have not been included in this budget, and we recommend that after the budget, the proposed budget is approved, we can come back and have the study session and have all the directors there with the city council, have them present to you each of those positions and let you know why they need that. And I will be there to provide you the funding information and let you know what fund is available to fund this position.
Okay, yeah, I like that idea. I was actually going to suggest that we do that.
Have a study session, go over all the positions that have not been included in this budget. And like I said, have all the directors provide you the idea and all their justification why they need such position. At the same time, and I will be there to let you know the financial position or what is available or not available.
Okay.
And the city council still can make the decision if you want to go ahead for that or not.
Yeah, I was going to actually suggest that we do that.
Thank you.
Yeah, I like that
Yes.
idea.
Thank you. I think we need more time, a study session, a complete study session to go over this request.
Right, yes, I do agree, because I do want to be able to assess that critical need and be able to allocate the resources where there is the greatest need. And
Yes. We the one that says can go back for further consideration and study.
and
Okay.
those items that are included in the proposed budget, those are much needed positions.
Yes.
Okay. Well, yeah, that would be my recommendation then as far as this
Thank you.
document goes.
Right. For example, such the police staff that we need to unfreeze certain position, and also the maintenance worker, because now we only have many can say two, and as they are going back and forth for many cities building facilities. And the accountant position, put it back there, we eliminated the assistant accounting manager to get a lower level accountant position, which saving the city $67,000. The reason we really need that position now and freeze other position because of the COVID grant, many COVID grant that we need to be on top of that and keep track of that, and the ARP plan, ARP coming up, that we really need to have a special body there, keep track of all those, be on top of them, so we can utilize the funding. And it gives us a very good timing, because I might expect couple of staff might be retired in couple years, in 2 or 3 years. So it's a perfect timing. Within the 3 years, so we finish handling those special grants, and then hopefully things slow down, and I would not refill the position for whoever is going to retire in 2 or 3 years.
Okay. Well, let's have that larger discussion. Do you need any direction from us? Do you need a motion from us?
I just want to give a couple of examples to you why certain critical positions are approved by the, I will recommend it to all of you. And however, those critical positions already included in this proposed budget. As I mentioned, all the ones that can be brought back later for a study session were not included in the budget. We can come back to discuss that further in the near future.
So you don't need any specific direction from us. We'll just stick to what is in the budget, what's being proposed.
Right.
And then at a later time, you can just bring it back to us. Right?
And any change, you can always come back to amend any change you may have or you want to. And it's not a set or whatever we adopted tonight, but so we can continue and go into the new fiscal year. Any addition or anything you want to make change, and always come back and give staff direction. We can amend the budget later on.
Mayor, if I may?
Yes, Councilmember Damian.
So, and Councilmember brought up a very great point. I was also looking at all of the personnel requests from all of the departments. I do understand that we're short-staffed, and I understand that we need to fully staff our city in various capacities. But I think that it would be wise if right now what we would do is stick to the unfreezing of positions. For example, like the finance, unfreeze the accounting position, and then obviously the police, unfreezing the police sergeant, records, cadet, parking enforcement, and then in recreation and community services, unfreeze the maintenance worker position, only because I understand Manny at one point had 7, and now he's down to 2. And the other thing, what I would recommend, if my colleagues are okay with it, is to bring back the rest of the personnel request, including any new requests, reclassifications, to a study session so that we can do a citywide classification study. Because this way it gives us the opportunity and the options to be able to see exactly, why is this person being reclassified? Is it justified to be reclassified? Because honestly, we have to be fair across the board. And if we're not, we're going to have a war on our hands with staff. So it would be wise for us to focus within this budget. I understand there are already some things that are included in the budget, like reclassifications and new requests. I would recommend that we only go with the accounting position, finance, the police department, unfreezing, and then the recreation and community services, the maintenance worker position, and the rest we hold off. Not that we don't want to approve them. Let's just hold them off till we go into a study session so that we can conduct that citywide classification study and see, what we can basically reclassify at that point in time. If staff's,
Mayor?
Mayor Pro Tem.
I agree that we need to look into every single request that was put on here. I also want to make sure that everybody got the opportunity and got enough time to put in their requests, because it seems like some departments have a lot more requests than others. So I want to make sure that every department got the time, the proper time and notification to put in enough, to put in the request. But I do agree that we need to go over this, have a study session, and determine the need of why you want to reclassify certain areas, why you want to add certain management. So I agree with Councilmember Damian, but let's make sure that everybody got the opportunity to turn in the need for their department, please.
Councilmember Hernandez.
Thank you. I agree with you, Councilmember Damian. The one thing I'd ask is if we could actually move forward with the community service officer with the police department. As the chief just mentioned in his comments, is that will actually freeze up a sworn individual to bring in a civilian. So that's something that, given everything that he spoke to, and I think we're all in agreement, at least in that position, that we should at least allow the city process to begin that process and not wait until we bring that position back at a later time with the other positions that you've mentioned, if that's okay with you.
Yeah, I'll support that.
Include the CSO, yeah. So adding it to his list. I don't think there's any.
Okay, so Rose, do you need a motion or you just need direction?
Yes, we need direction. And what you want to approve in this budget, then I go back to make changes. And the total proposed budget, different.
I guess the direction, Rose, is that we move forward with unfreezing the accounting position in finance, approve the unfreezing of the police sergeant, records, cadet, and parking enforcement officer, and include in there the Councilmember Hernandez suggestion of community services officer, and then approve in recreation and community services to unfreeze the maintenance worker position. Then come back for a study session so that we can address all of the new requests and give actually every department the opportunity to come in with critical new requests as well as reclassifications, so that at that time we can do a citywide classification study and see what it is that we're going to move forward with at that time.
Can we add, I know the senior center has been working during this pandemic. The staff at the senior center have actually stepped up. Can we add the program supervisor reclass? Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Could we ask Director Carrillo what that position entails?
Yes, I'd be happy to elaborate on that position. We have had a long-term employee working at the Julie McNeil Senior Center. She came over to our department in 1996, and she has done a wonderful job. We have an award-winning department, largely to do with employees like this individual. She is currently a program coordinator. She has been a program coordinator since 1996. Fast forward to 2021, I've been very conservative in regards to the budget, but it is getting towards the end of her career, and I think it is well deserved, and her responsibilities reflect that she is doing the work of a program supervisor. A lot of you have participated in the prom at the hotel and all the different events. They are coordinated by the program coordinator at the center, and it is well deserved for my professional opinion. Thank you.
No, I know that, but so my only concern is that if we do this, we're gonna have to go. I mean, we're gonna have to kind of pick and choose who we're gonna give this for. And it's not that I'm saying that no one is worthy of a reclassification or a raise or any of that. Trust me, there's a lot that are worthy of it. But to me, it just seems that at this point in time, as of tonight, we need to address the most critical issues, and that is unfreezing some of the most critical positions that we need. Then at that point in time, let's bring it for 2 weeks from now. We can address, the reclassifications and the new personnel requests, because if not, if we give it to one, we're going to have to give it to everybody. So I would recommend that, we just do the unfreezing and then move forward with the reclassifications and new requests. Bring it back 2 weeks if we can, Enrique, for a study session, so we can move on it quick. Because I understand that the community service officer is also a very important role and a position within the police department, especially within the community. But again, if we give one personnel request and then we give a reclassification, we're going to have to go across the whole personnel request form and start picking and choosing who we're going to give to, and it's not going to look good.
I hear what you're saying. I do know that department, but I hear what you're saying. So I will agree. Let's, to be fair to everybody, let's bring it back with details, just like you explained right now, Manny, but make sure that every single person, every area that you're asking for a reclassification, you have the details and the justification of why that reclassification needs to be done in that department. And we could take it from there. That way, it is done fairly for everybody.
Yes.
Also, one procedural thing, Rose, I know that there's a requirement that the budget be approved, a balanced budget be approved before the turn of the year.
Yes.
Which, however, that, I guess, has to be attested whether we have time for, if you approve it today as amended, with the increases that have been preliminary approved, when will you present the new balanced budget? Will it still be in time to have it be approved before the end of the fiscal year?
Actually, my recommendation is to adopt the budget with the recommendation and direction what City Council just made to unfreeze those couple of critical positions. And then we don't have to add all those positions back or complete the study before July 1st. If we adopted the budget tonight, we can always have time to come back and have study session and have pick up the time that you need or that is available for all the city council to have study session, and we can always add them back later to amend the adopted budget. If we adopt it tonight, we can always come back and amend the adopted budget get approved by the city council tonight.
So we're saying approve as presented tonight, and it can be amended as early as 2 weeks from
Yes.
today.
Adopted not as presented, adopted with the amendment with the city council's recommendation that they just provided. For example, the special event that they want to add this and that, and the personnel request, and they want to only unfreeze the police position or add the community service position, and those that the city council just directed us to add.
So Rose, can I make that motion then? Can I make the motion to approve the budget, keeping the special events budget the same? Manny will come back with this very specific numbers, right? But the budget will be $224,000 for special events. And then we will move forward with the unfreezing of positions.
Yes, that the city council just mentioned, the police and the finance and the maintenance worker, and also Councilman Paul recommendation for the community. Let me see the exact
Service
title.
officer. PSO.
Right?
So that would be the motion then.
Yes. Thank you very much.
Okay. So are we ready to take any action on this? I already made the motion.
I'll second that.
The motion is to adopt the budget as presented with the special events allocation of $224,000. What that specific number was. We're just going to make some modifications. Manny's going to bring back the details on those 3 events that we discussed.
Yes.
And then we're going to unfreeze the positions as included in the budget. And then we're going to include the CSO as recommended by Councilman Hernandez. And that's the motion. So that's my motion.
Second. Any objections? Any objections?
I have an objection because, go back to the fairness here. We're adopting that, but yet we're not doing the other ones.
You want to hold off on
because we want more information, so it's kind of back to the same when I requested to go ahead and prove the reclass.
Well, we'll discuss it at the time.
I would just recommend that we leave that out until we have the meeting and get more information on it.
Okay, so let me amend that then. We won't include the CSO tonight. We'll just bring it back when we have the larger discussion. So that's my amended motion.
Okay, second that.
Okay. Any objections? No, if not, your motion passes. So that's,
Mayor,
yes,
for the first recommendation, we still need to conduct a roll call for the first motion.
oh, okay. And then, so we have to vote that one down, right?
Right,
Yeah.
because I said.
Okay. City Clerk, roll call, please.
Council Member Garcia?
Well, I'll revert
motion.
back to the original. Okay, so yes.
Councilmember Hernandez?
Just for clarification.
You seconded.
Revert back.
Revert? Yeah, we're
You still
reverting.
have to, yeah, you seconded.
It was yes, yes.
Yes.
Okay. Mayor Pro Tem Avila?
No.
Okay, Councilmember Damian?
No.
Okay, Mayor Emmanuel Estrada?
No.
Okay, thank you.
And then you have your second motion, right?
And then the
And then the
substitute
second
motion.
motion.
All right, so now we're good.
Yes.
You don't need a roll call for that, do you?
Are you sure? Okay.
Great. And now I feel like we got a little mixed up. But so we
Trying to
still have
keep
the
it
Finance
straight.
Authority, the Municipal and Housing and Successor. Do they all pass together? So I guess we're going back to item number 7 now.
This is the item 7, Councilman Daniel.
Great. So at this moment, I will officially open the public hearing regarding a resolution of the City Council of the City of Baldwin Park confirming the Advisory Committee's report and levying the assessments in the Baldwin Park Citywide Business Improvement District for fiscal year 2021-2022. City Clerk, is there anybody looking to speak in favor?
No call-ins, no.
And anybody looking to speak in favor in person? No. At this moment, I will move to see if anybody's speaking against. Is there anybody on the phone?
No call-ins.
No. Somebody looking to speak against, you can go on up to the microphone.
Okay, so I read on the staff report here, we're going to spend $54,000 on administration costs, general promotion, business activities. I don't know how that's going to create more help for our businesses. Consultant services for BP Now. Why? Media outreach. Well, that's $27,000. And then we have media outreach consultant services, again, public information officers, $39,000. Total $120,000. How is this helping our businesses? I don't see the point. Now, has anybody redone the committee since they started this BS thing? Has anybody, who's on this committee? I mean, when I get done speaking, I'd like to know who's on the committee, because the last time it was all the council, and they wouldn't even put a business person on the committee. And a business person, or at least one or two, should be on there to confer with the board. But the council, because we had a little conspiracy going, we had just all the council members. And they decided all the businesses should pay this tax. And for what? And it's all consultant things. And I'll bet all these consultants paid donations to the campaign donations. Monica, Hernandez, and whoever else. So why are we doing this? And it's all consultant. Where are we giving money to the businesses and helping them out? We're not. We're doing consultants. I don't understand this. We need to give it back to the community. If my business is going to give money to the city to do something, then benefit me. If you're not going to benefit me, why should I pay it? It's like the technology fee that VJ created back in the day, was an old city manager. And it's like, what technology did we get out of that? Not a thing. But the city got extra money. It's $8, $9 on our business tax, on our license that we pay. We need to justify what we're charging the businesses. You just want to run businesses out of town. But if you're going to do this, then we do it for the street fair. We do it for something that brings people into the city and helps businesses, even though it wouldn't help my particular business, but it brings people into the city and helps the downtown area, which you're concerned about getting that and improving that. But here, all we're doing is paying BS. We're paying media consultants. That's not right. And then we're creating more staff time and more administration costs. And you're trying to cut costs where you can, and all this does is create more. And the BP Now, that doesn't help businesses. You have to pay to advertise in there. If it can't substantiate its own self, then don't have it. It doesn't do anybody any good. And if the businesses want to advertise in that business, then let them pay for it. Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you. Is there any comments from council or staff?
I have a comment.
Yes, Mayor Pro Tem.
Thank you. Mr. Tuttle made a good point. Who is in this committee? I'm not familiar with who is in this committee and actually what happens. So I would like to have a presentation or an overview on how this actually works and who is part of this committee, who has that information.
I can mention that as stated in the staff report, and this community at the City Council meeting on March 2nd, 2016, the City Council approved the designation of the executive team as the Business Improvement Advisory Committee. And executive team They are formed by CEO and all the department directors. And the city council can choose and come back, and if you decided to add any other members to the committee or not choose to have the executive team as the as the committee, and then you can give a new direction.
So you don't have any business representative in this committee?
We don't at this point.
And is there a reason
it
why?
It hasn't changed by the direction. On the staff report, we stated here that since then, there is no any new direction.
So I think since the businesses are paying for this, I think we should have representation from the businesses in this committee. So I think we need to change that and work on getting representation from our businesses to be part of this community, because I don't think the executive team should be making all the decisions when it's their money that's coming into this. So how do we go about changing this committee? Okay, so I will request to put this on the next agenda so that we can get the business owners involved and be part of this committee. I'm sure there's a process to go about this so we can get people to participate or sign up to be part of this committee. And let's advertise it so the businesses know that we are going to be changing the way the committee runs.
Great. So before we continue, I do just want to officially close the public hearing. Councilmember Damian, you have the floor.
Thank you, Mayor. Rose, so since you indicated that the E-team or the executive team are the ones who are on the committee for the BIT, when was the last time that the executive team met in regards to the BIT?
Due to the COVID-19, COVID-19, yes. And we haven't met physically in person. However, I emailed the information and to all the E-team member and the information and have them provide comments and or any additional requests or comments, things like that. In the past, because of the COVID and the situation, we did not put much event here. However, if you want to you decided to fund the BP now or the PIO with other fund or general fund, and we can go to amend this, and the whatever don't spend is just go back to the fund balance that we can save it there for future events such as the street market, like I mentioned before, or concert in the park, or do some other activities with your direction that will benefit the community.
So, yeah, I mean, and realistically speaking, the BP now, let's just continue paying it for. Let's just continue paying for it for now. My concern was obviously the 39,000 PR firm, which shouldn't come from there. I see there's going to be a surplus of $34,020 after these expenses. So what we should do is we should start looking into ways how we can have our businesses benefit from this particular fund. Even though, the BP now it's informative. It's for the community. It's for the businesses. They see it on there. They get the option. Maybe give them a discount to advertise on there. Start thinking of ways how they can also benefit from what we're paying out of this fund.
Yes.
For them, right? So if we're paying for the BP now for there, I don't know, let's give them a discount, 50% or whatever it is. Let's get creative in ways where they're going to benefit from it. But, excuse me, one of my recommendations would be to stop paying the $39,000 PR firm from there. And like Vice Mayor Avila stated, I think it's wise that we bring this back so that we can explore how we can get business owners to be part of this committee And this way they can meet and figure out, they can figure out a way, along with whoever else is going to be on that board or committee, how this money is going to be spent and where it's going to be allocated to. That would be wise versus us just figuring out and saying, hey, you know what? Because I don't know, they're going to blame the executive team for saying, you guys are the ones that decided how this money is being spent. So this way, it's taken to them. They've decided how they're going to allocate the funds that are in there for that year and move forward from there.
It is their
Councilmember
money.
Mayor?
Yes, and I also want to mention something, point out something to the city council and the public. And the rate, we did not change or increase any rate. The rate remained the same. And we can get direction from city council to come back with reallocating other event or reserve the money for future event or activities. When you come up any ideas with what you want to do or what the committee would like to do or the new form committee would like to do. So we can take your direction, and the rate will be continue. If you decide not to approve these two events, you direct the staff to let us know if you want to pay the Baldwin Park now from the general fund. Then I can add it back to general fund. And also, if you want to continue to use the PIO services and direct the staff use the general fund to pay these costs.
You had a recommendation.
Or direct the staff not to have these services at all.
I
Or
believe
direct staff-
Councilmember, had a recommendation earlier when he was speaking. What I do recommend, though, is that we get this committee, we move forward to getting the new committee members on board and organizing this committee so it can work together with the city and the businesses, because I think they should be the biggest part of the decision-making of where we should be spending the money to better benefit our community. But I think Councilmember Damian had some suggestions earlier, right, when you were speaking about it?
The 39,000 people.
Yes.
I mean, I understand the benefits of the PR firm. So we're still going to spend this money out of the general fund anyways. I mean, the money's going to have to be spent either way. It's going to either come out of the BIT or it's going to come out of the general fund. And right now, we're kind of making sure that we don't spend every single penny out of the general fund. So what if we just keep it the way it is for now with the way the BIT fund is, approve it as is, bring back to the agenda to discuss the committee for the BIT. And then once we have that committee in place, they can decide future funding, how that money in that fund is going to be spent. You guys okay with that?
That's
I
great.
just want-
That's great.
I'm perfectly fine with that, Councilmember. The one thing I'd like to do is just for future consideration is for the council as a group, or for us to provide some insight to that committee, because again, there's no way we're going to have a large enough committee that represents the entire business. So perhaps somebody from the business association would be on there. It's one of their board or one of their directors. But one of the things that I see just as a item is, if we're going to use this for business, then one thing that we can look at is actually helping businesses increase their business and their capacity. And one of those ways is through professional training and development. We have several businesses, several mom and pop shop businesses that have been around for a long time, and they only have 1 or 2 staff members. They haven't had the capacity or the training to understand what it means for them to move on, to expand, and to grow. So I would appreciate that. That would be an item of serious consideration to do that. And more importantly, as we're coming out of COVID-19, a lot of businesses were impacted more than anything else. They had a pivot and so forth. So that's where perhaps we can hire a consultant that can work with a handful of small businesses, and I'm talking the small ones, because if we look under the SBA, small is anything under 5,000 employees. So I'm talking about the true mom and pop shops, because those are essentially the bread and butter of our businesses, whether it's the small restaurants or whatever the case may be. But look at that for consideration when we bring this back, as you mentioned.
And I agree. I think your absolutely correct. I think that, we should have insight and, discussion with whoever's going to be on the committee. Like you mentioned, business association, work with them. But I feel that once we have that committee in place, then, we can have future discussions as how that future funding is being spent. And for now, just pass the BIT for, the way it is now, work on the committee, and then they can decide, or we can decide future fundings.
Yeah, I would just clarify that the next step to this would be to have a fuller discussion about what that committee could look like, who would comprise the committee, and then also, like you're saying, as far as spending and allocation, what would be some of the guidelines? Because we would want it to neutralize that interest as much as possible so that it benefits the larger business community, right? So the next step of this, let's bring that back for a fuller discussion, and then we can start to really look at the details of that. But I'll second your motion if that's where what you were thinking, we're on the same page. I'll second that.
So before you make a motion, I do want to talk about, so the BP Now is obviously one of our main resources to communicate with the community and help them know what's going on in the city, and also help them learn about local businesses if we play our cards right. And so in this budget, there is a projected surplus of $34,000, and I do think it would be wise to consider revamping the BP Now, so that it's more entertaining, it's more attractive, it makes people want to open it up and read through it, and through the pages there could be advertisements for local businesses, just the way we did during the pandemic, where we were highlighting our local businesses. I thought that was really great. That's how I found out about certain restaurants, and it's a great way to give them exposure, but also give our constituents a way to find places to eat or dine or hang out and spend their revenue locally.
I agree with you, Mayor. And let me ask you, Manny, how much would it cost if we were to add an additional page to that BP Now?
Offhand, Councilmember Damian, I don't have the numbers offhand, but I could definitely secure those and circle back with all the city council members and provide you the cost of how much it would be for one additional page. In addition, if there's any additional postage related to that.
Yeah, because that way, we can explore maybe using that extra page to showcase, every time it comes out, showcase different businesses on there, give them the opportunity. Maybe those businesses give it to them for free, or, whatever we have in the future.
Sure. If, in addition, if council wishes, we could work a little bit closer with the business association, and we could highlight some of the businesses in the association as well. Thank you.
Yeah, and so that's one of my things, just kind of maybe heavily consider redeveloping the BP Now, maybe the logo, making it look a little bit more modern, making people want to read it, have some good stuff in there. Yeah, so as long as that's part of the motion, Councilmember Damian, you can make it.
I think the motion was
I'll make the motion.
The item,
Yeah,
right?
it's late. I'll make the motion to approve item 8 as is with
item 7.
Item 7, the BIT, make a motion to pass it as is, bringing back to a future meeting so that we can reorganize the committee with business owners in the city and what was the other part? And revamp the Baldwin Park Now magazine.
Great. I'll second. Oh, I think you second, Councilmember Garcia. So is there any objections? No? So item number 7 passes. And then I believe at this point we can move on. And item number 9, we did have a public communication, and I believe we did have a public hearing, and I believe at this point we are making a motion to move item number 9. And I believe we need a specific date because it is a part of a public hearing, correct? So, Enrique, do you have any recommendation for what day would be best for this?
I think I got a notice about this. No?
Let's see. We would want, ideally, how far out can this be continued? Right.
August 4th is also the public.
Okay,
Waste.
August 4th.
For the waste rate adjustment.
Great.
Yeah.
So-
That's what was posted
That's
earlier.
a solid- oh, that's a
That's
di-
a separate.
Okay, so I will make a motion to move item number 9 to the second meeting of August, which will be August 18th, 2021. Can I get a second? Any objections? None. Motion passes. And I believe at this point, we are down to City Council, City Clerk, City Treasurer, staff request, and communication. And Councilmember Monica Garcia has the floor.
Okay, so thank you. Really quick, and I don't want to take too much time. I know that it's late. But the reason why I wanted to bring this item up to the council is I've learned that in our effort to keep our city attorney separate from our cannabis attorney and the process that it's taking to, find a law firm that will provide the cannabis specialized area services. So an unintended consequence to that is that some of the applications that we're moving through the process have been put on hold. And the time frame that has been provided in some cases is months. And so until we go through the process of finding a new attorney. I think that what the problems the problems created by that includes some of these applicants are leasing space and moving through the process with good faith, but now they have holding costs that are accruing. Like for example, there was a company that we recently gave a green light to. I want to say it was in the last month. And they're not going to be able to move forward in the application process because we don't have an attorney that will work on the DDA or, facilitate that. They're on hold until we find the attorney that will then work on those, details and then bring it back to us. Meanwhile, because they got the green light from council, they have, like I said, the holding costs, the monthly leases and all of it. And I just don't think that was intended. I don't think we meant to put a hold on that activity. Obviously, any applicant is going to go through the review process, and then we're going to decide whether they get a permit or not. But right now, that process, as I understand it, has been put on hold. And so I don't think that was our intended. I don't think that was our intention. So I know that it's late. I know this is the last item, but if we can have a quick discussion, even if it's to bring it back at the next meeting, but how can we move on getting that attorney in place so that the process doesn't stall and it's not on hold for new applicants?
And I believe, sorry.
Yeah, so my question on this agenda was, can we get an update on the appointment of the separate attorney? And I don't know who is managing that, but at this point, I know because we want to keep our city attorney separate from it.
So I believe.
But let's get this process going. So who's working on it? Oh, you're working on.
I'm
okay.
one person, yes.
Okay.
Mayor and city council members, I can give you a quick update on that process. The city clerk assisted me in issuing the RFP for the cannabis attorney. So we received about 8 proposals, a good number of proposals. We're going through them, and the intention is to bring it for your approval on the next meeting, which would be July 7th.
Okay, so July 7th, we'll have the list, and then we can choose one, and then they can start immediately.
Yes, and the applicant you're mentioning, I'm in communication with them. Yeah, they are frustrated. They'd like to have moved more quickly. So it is a multi-week sort of delay. So it is true what you're saying, that there's a delay. I'm doing all, we're doing all we can to. We couldn't have made this meeting with the RFP and getting the proposals. It would have been impossible
to
make this meeting, but we can do the July 7th.
Okay. Oh, that's good to know. All right. So as long as that's the case, then we can choose on that day and just move it along.
Yeah, it's my intention to inform them exactly of the process. I think if they have some certainty of the process, then that's going to help them. So I will do that.
Okay, Good. So we can expect it to come back July 2nd.
I have a question, Ben. On that list you're going to give us, are you going to have the full background on what they specialize and all that? And will you have it, I hope, in advance before the meeting so we can have time to review everybody's credentials for that?
Yeah, I can do that. Why don't I go ahead and even share all the proposals, you know, as soon as possible, so you have all of them, and then, yeah.
To
so
look through them all, please.
You have all of them.
Yeah, and that way we can read through them with
Okay.
time. And I think you're still right on track, right? So I did look at the RFP on the website, and I think the cutoff was a couple of weeks back, and then it was still proposed that we would select them that first meeting.
Correct.
Okay, so, yeah, Councilmember Damian.
Yeah, before you adjourn, Mayor, I just wanted to, I know it's late, I just want to make this really quick. Manny, this for Ms. Parks and Rec Director Manny. Can you explore, I've received a lot of calls from concerned seniors at the senior center. And I know we've had these conversations in the past, but we need to start exploring or figuring out a way what it is that we're going to do to be able to make sure that they are not being charged for coffee, that the events that they are, you know, the events that are happening, whether it's the Valentine's Day dance, you know, whatever it is, figure out a way where it's not so difficult for them to attend, because some of them, I mean, even if it's $5, they don't have the $5.
Okay.
You know, and I know we've had these conversations, you know, in the past. You know, if there's a need for coffee, I'm sure that I can find business owners that would be willing to sponsor the coffee for them. But, you know, in reality, you know, it's just, when we talk about a quarter, for us, it may be not a lot, but for people who are on fixed incomes, you know, I see some of these seniors, and I put myself in their shoes, and I think, you know, if my mother wasn't with me, where would she be? You know, she would be one of those ones that would be going to the senior center to eat a lunch and only would eat half of her lunch to take the other half home for dinner. So, you know, these are heartbreaking stories that I've heard from some, and I know that, you know, there's a lot of little controversy here and there, but some of them are very legitimate stories that I've had conversations with, and some of these people have been in tears. So I would really urge that we figure out a way how these people are not being charged. At the end of the day, these are our seniors. You know, we have to care for them. And we have to make it easy for them to be able to access these events. For most of them, this is their life. Going to the senior center is their highlight of the day. So we need to make it pleasurable for them and not make it hard for them. You know, if we can have a conversation, maybe you and I later on, if it need be, to figure out a way how we can help out, I'd be more than happy to do so. But please, let's start addressing those issues, Manny.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Manny.
Councilmember Damian, I'll re-evaluate that and also touch bases with our finance director and see where we could backfill some of those lost revenue. Thank you.
You know, we just discussed allocating more money to the Christmas tree lighting ceremony. Why don't we use some of that money for the coffee for our seniors and those type of things?
Yeah, and
Help.
so, Manny,
I mean, let's have those conversations. You put those numbers together, Manny. You give her that information, and that way, give them what they need as well.
yeah, and I know that we in recent weeks we've talked about you know, finding funds to make Parks and Recreation completely free, and I know that we've had some calculations. So do those calculations include things like that for the seniors?
Yes, we will go ahead and include the activities for the seniors and bring that back to the city council. Thank you.
Okay, that works. Okay, thank you for that, Manny.
Okay, well.
So before we all get ready to go,
Yeah, there's
I
nothing
believe
else on
we
the
have-
agenda. What's good?
we have the Housing Authority, and then we have a consent calendar on there.
Oh, okay, well, yeah.
So the meeting is open, so I will make a motion to pass the consent calendar for the Housing Authority. Can I get a second?
Second.
Any objections? No, and then I believe there's a consent calendar for the Finance Authority, and I will make a motion to pass that. Can I get a second?
Second.
Any objections? No, item passes, and I believe that's it. So, give me 1 second.
Are we adjourning?
So closed session is still open. Well, we would have to reconvene and then, or can we just adjourn the meeting? Okay, so at this moment, I will make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
How many meetings do we have open? All of them. I'll make a motion to adjourn all the meetings, including our special meeting, our regular meeting, and all the authority meetings. Can I get a second?
Second.
Great. Meeting is adjourned.
Thank you.
Yes, Enrique, good night.
Good night.
Drive safe. Are you taking the train?
No, I've been driving.
Oh, good, okay.
Yeah.
Hold on, you have to do that.
I'm driving.
I don't want you to be stranded there.
No. I was trying, I just heard it go by. Yeah, I know, I would do that.